ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Spawncast episode 302. We just had Miss Click here, but she had to pop out for a bit. She's gonna go spend some time tonight relaxing and all of this. And then obviously we talk about Sean real quick. He had some stuff going on, as people have seen, and he's made a couple videos explaining things. And he'll be recuperating. He'll be back when he's able to be back. But he's in good spirits. He's feeling better. So he's just dealing with his stuff right now. But we'll see him around. I think he was in the chat even. So feel free to ping him in there as well. But
we love you, Sean.
Yeah, we'll see you when you're ready, Sean. When you get back to it. But let's see. We still have some people over here tonight. Got some stuff to go over. We're going to be talking about Fire Emblem Engage, which came out. We got the Halo Microsoft madness. It was not a great week for Microsoft and Xbox, but we'll go over that tonight. And then we have some stuff with Nintendo to talk about because Bloomberg dropped some news that was quite interesting, we'll say, for the week. Let's go around here. We'll start with Max, Dreamcast guy. How are we doing, Max?
Hi, I'm great. Good. I'm secretly eating a giant taco and I'm happy.
Oh, okay. Good to have Max here. We have MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer.
Hello. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. As always.
I liked your video, MVG, about I forgot about that barnyard leak thing.
The Halo barn leak.
I completely forgot about that thing. That had some nostalgic flair to it, man.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun making that video. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's on my channel. Check it out.
Yeah, that was a good one. And we got OJ Player Essence.
What's up? Good to be here. Had a great pre-show today. Shout out to everybody that came through. And looking forward to talking about all sorts of cool stuff.
We got Nate the Hates here.
Yes, I'm trying to get the Giants game on a volume that doesn't come through the microphone so people don't bitch about it.
Good to have Nate here. Did the Giants score yet?
No.
Oh.
They haven't scored yet because I wasn't watching the game until now. Now things are going to turn around. Daniel Jones is going to show why he is an elite quarterback, and they're going to charge their way to victory.
I think it's going to be a long night for the Giants.
It's going to be a long day tomorrow for the 49ers.
No, it's not. And we need to check on RGT just to make sure if things don't go well.
We will have to check on him.
Double check on RGT.
We'll have to check on him. We it should be a fun night tonight. Did Nate, did you get Engage? Fire Emblem Engage?
Yes, but I have not played it yet.
Okay, not a problem. Because I know Sean was playing it right now. But otherwise, I don't know if MVG, did you get a copy in?
Oh.
Okay, so it might just be me and OJ right now. Because I know, Max, you were waiting on Forspoken to come in. Okay.
Well, my copy of Engage comes tomorrow, but I want to hear y'all talk about it. I'm so excited. I've only heard good things.
Okay, cool. We'll start with the Discord question though, Evan. What you got for us?
How do some Game Boy games, like classic Game Boy games, have color on the Game Boy Color?
Oh, well, some of them were kind of designed with like that, like Zelda DX came out. It came out later. It was like that black cartridge, but it had the color palettes built in.
Yep, it was programmed into the ROM basically. The different color palettes you could have.
By the way, one of the coolest things going on right now is that people are going in and they're adding color palettes to older Game Boy games. So if you could actually put it on a flash card and put it on your Game Boy Color and it will work.
They look great. I have a bunch of those on my Analog Pocket, and they look so good. They almost look like new games. They look like remakes. They're insane.
Yeah, I think one of the Mega Man ones just recently came out, and it looks incredible. There's a lot of work to it. So that's one of the cooler mods that have been coming out recently. You have another Discord question, Evan?
What's an obscure game you guys have played and enjoyed, but no one has ever heard of?
I'm going to say Mr. Bones on the Sega Saturn. Every single level is like a different style of gameplay. So there's like a rhythm level where you have to like play music. And then there's one where there's like an infinite runner and you have to dodge stuff. Then there's like a platformer. The game is just so, you could never sell it today. It's too many genres. But I love that game and I've never heard anybody even acknowledge it exists.
I mean, if I go back to way back in the day when there was this big blast of MMORPGs and everyone was trying to do it, there are probably some. I can't think of the names for them. There's also
there was Asheron's Call. There was Dark Age of Camelot. There was all these.
I feel like
kind of weird
Dark
ones.
Age was semi-big.
Everyone was
but
trying to
that
do
one's
it.
called.
Yeah. And then there was also this old game on Newgrounds as a drag racing game where I did a space bar to shift. And that was really fun. But I think I just played that in like math class and stuff.
I know everyone knew about Myst back in the day, but in a similar vein, Lighthouse was probably one of my favorite older games from Sierra.
Okay. Yeah, those days in old school Sierra. There's a lot of obscure stuff then. You have another Discord question, Evan?
The AAA looter shooter genre is 4 for 4 for bad games. Will Suicide Squad finally break the curse?
We're going to talk about Suicide Squad tonight. We'll actually hold that question, Evan, because that's part of one of our topics tonight is the Suicide Squad stuff. Okay, let's actually get into let's get into Fire Emblem Engage first off, because I think right now it's just OJ and I who have played it, and I'm 4.5 hours in now. So I've been playing it here and there. I think I've played probably majority in handheld mode, like 60-40, I think right now. And I mean, it's still early on. Three Houses, there's a significant time investment, but the start so far I'm enjoying. I think I'm just more interested in this story than Three Houses so far. Although people seem to like the Three Houses storyline and the interconnection of the different houses and all of that, right? But this was just more straightforward. It's like, hey, there's rings out there. You got to go get them. And okay, that's fine with me. And they have the big bad guy in there and she's already killing her like underlings if they fail her and stuff. It's like, well, okay, that's the evil one. All right. So I got to pay attention to her. And there's a lot of talking for probably describing very simple events, but it's the cutscenes and stuff are played out well enough for me anyway. But I said before, I was getting kind of fatigued of the college school setting stuff and the classroom stuff. So this is more like, hey, it's medieval times, fantasy elements. We're just running around. We're just killing stuff. That's that. And I'm enjoying it. Got the permadeath on, of course. So you get that feeling of you can't just send the people wherever. And it's been, the tactical battles are good. You have these rings and you'll engage with past Fire Emblem characters and they fuse together Dragon Ball style almost, and you get some pretty cool effects from it. The cutscenes for it are good. They get kind of played out and you could skip them real fast. Like after you see them a couple times, you're like, all right, yeah, I'll skip this. But I like the effects. Visually, it's pretty good. I think it's better than Three Houses. There is some shimmering in the game, like aliasing kind of thing, right?
A little bit of blurriness, like on the textures on their outfits, you know.
Yeah, but whenever I get these tactical style games, something about them, I don't necessarily go in thinking this is going to blow my mind visually. Like when I played through Diofield Chronicle, I didn't go into it thinking this is going to be the most mesmerizing, mind-blowing experience visually. And it was on like the PS5 I was playing it. So I think it's because you're zoomed out and you're looking at the characters from far away that I'm never thinking this is like God of War level visuals or anything either way. But so far, so good for me. I don't know, OJ, what are you thinking so far about this one?
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, this is the first straight up like new Fire Emblem game in quite some, like since like even like Awakening. I mean, like that's the like usually it's like multiple paths. It's like, oh, there's relationships like marriage and all these different things that just kind of fill up time. Mm-hmm. And this one's just kind of, more straightforward. So I talked about it a couple times because there is, for those who don't know, there is a very big divide in Fire Emblem community. There's like people that just love old school, which doesn't have all that, with exception of some games like Genealogy of the Holy War, where there's like children and, you know, there's marriage and stuff, and then it goes from part 1 to part 2. But most of the games are just straight up, you know? And then there's like the new school Fire Emblem, which is like Awakening Up, which is, you know, bunch of support conversations and relationships and all the different type of stuff. So this is the first time that we've gotten a game, you know, that doesn't have those, you know, since the new Fire Emblem, that doesn't have all that. They have it, but it's not as intense. It's not as pronounced as the previous one. So it was interesting to see how people like John would respond, and people that are just trying, maybe getting into Fire Emblem for the first time. So that's been interesting just to see people talking. And for the most part, it's been pretty respectful. Like I like the conversation on both sides. You know, I think that if you like the relationship stuff, that's cool. The marriage stuff, that's cool. But I think that if you're looking for just more of a straight up Fire Emblem, maybe even a first one to get into, this is a good game to start with. There are some things that, like, if you don't know the previous characters, they will make some comments to stuff that happened in their game. Like particularly in their game, like what happened to them, and you might be a little bit lost on that, but it's nothing too much. But overall, it's fun. Like, I
feel like if I was really into Fire Emblem, some of the appearances, OJ, of these different characters and the rings and stuff, I'd be way more excited for them. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, that character looks cool. Oh, okay, that engaged fusion looks cool. Okay, cool. I can deal with this. I feel like if I would be like popping a lot more if I was really into Fire Emblem with like, the older games.
I'm really into it, so this won't be a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil it, but for Genealogy of the Holy War, if you know what happened to Sigurd. And what happens to him, that's the guy on the lance and everything. And he goes like, he references what happens to him in a certain situation with his children, and like, how he kind of failed them, because he kind of got clapped. So like stuff like that, like you're like, oh man, it makes you feel bad. Because if you've played Genealogy of the Holy War, you know what happens to Sigurd, you know what happens to him. So it's really cool to see like the little stuff that they actually bring in from their previous games that maybe they still have regrets from, or maybe like they understand like where the characters are feeling from in that perspective. So that's cool. So yeah, maybe you might want to watch like a little retrospective, on the characters, just like some of the games. Like there's a lot of good ones out there, but even if you miss it, you don't have to worry about it. Like the gameplay is good enough to carry it, and you can just kind of go through and upgrade your weapons and have fun and beat the crap out of people and use all the different stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm having fun with that.
Yeah. There's a ton of like, I call it sauce. There's like a ton of like elements in the game that like you can like break it, like engaging and like bond fragments and like doing like the ring fusion stuff and the training. Like there's so many different things that you can do to like enhance the gameplay and do little things to just make it more fun. Just like a lot of different elements, so that's cool. And it's straight up Fire Emblem game. It's 40-50 hours type of game, maybe faster if you're playing on an easier difficulty. And there's replay value and stuff like that. You can go back and like you do tower trials. They have everything in there to just be a good, solid, like no like crazy fluff.
Three Houses, the best-selling Fire Emblem, right?
Yeah, best selling.
What is that? Is that is that like what is that? 3 and a 4, 3.5?
3.8 as of 2021 at the end of 20. So we don't have all of 2022 sales. But yeah, as of that, the best selling one.
I think Engage might get there. I don't know. Engage is looking pretty good right now from what I've played. Like I said, you go into Fire Emblem and you're expecting 40-50 hour play. So playing 10% of the time I'm going to be in it. I need to play more of it. But I did notice one issue though with this one. It has voice acting in it.
And no!
I noticed that Pokemon. I mean, that's gonna 30-40 million maybe sold to this thing, and there's no voice acting, so we might have to cut that out next time because No, the voice acting's good. That's and sort of they started talking. I was like, oh yes, that's right. This has voice acting.
Yeah,
why don't you? Where's my Pokemon Violet case?
Fire Emblem's had voice acting. Yeah,
it's just funny.
Yeah. No, it's had it since Awakening. It's had it since the 3DS days. So yeah, it's had it and it's been very good voice acting. Like very good voice acting in Fire Emblem. So it's cool that it's back. It's pretty much almost all voiced. There are some lines in the Somnio that's not voiced, but for the most part, it's all good. It's voiced. That's great. I do like the little exploration stuff. Like after you beat a mission, you can kind of just like walk around. Like you can talk
pick up items and
pick up items. You can adopt animals. So it's pretty cool. I like it.
I've been adopting a lot of chickens.
You need chickens. They drop eggs.
That's I put that together. I'm like, all right, this will work. Yeah, it seems like they keep introducing new things for you to do. So it's like, all right, they're slowly dropping them to you. It's like, all right, now you can go to this bulletin board, donate stuff to make this region better, and then you can adopt more animals. Now it's like, oh, you have this bond relationship going up. Go check this out. So it's slowly building it up, and I feel like when you're like 10 hours in, you'll look around and understand everything and know how to do it all. So good start. Liking Fire Emblem Engage. I think this is a more straightforward tactical game that gets away from the classroom and the social elements. And for me, that's a good thing because man, I actually almost fell asleep in school and I wasn't even actually in school. So
another thing is that the weapon triangle is back, and that is awesome.
Yes.
I love the weapon triangle, and the weapon triangle is back. And on top of that, it's like easier for newcomers because if you just press the plus button, it'll tell you what the weapon triangle is. So if you ever forget, it easily pops it up there. And they'll also tell you on the map. Like they'll tell you like a little, like if you're about to fight an enemy and if you have a sword and that person has an axe, it'll tell you like, it'll cross out the axe saying, yeah, you're gonna you're gonna body this dude right now, like he's gonna drop his weapon through a break. So it's cool. Like I like those little things. That's why I say it's pretty good to start with, because Three Houses does not have a weapon triangle. It does just kind of like, you know, arts that can be effective against certain enemies, and this one it's very straight. The weapon triangle is very straightforward, you know, just rock paper scissors. So I think that's a cool way for people to just start out, you know, if you want to get into tactics games. And of course you have like the casual mode in there. Those things really help out, you know, with new players and all that. So yeah, it's cool.
Yep, big recommendation. So far so good. So I think you're really gonna like it, Nate. So I know you're like the old school Fire Emblem GameCube fan, so I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I'll probably get around to it maybe tomorrow or next week. Hopefully before Dead Space comes out.
You can just play it whenever, man. I swear, like if you play this game like a year from now, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was fun. You know,
this seems like a good game. Like if you're gonna hang out and watch football tomorrow, Nate, this seems like a good game to kind of play while you're watching football or something.
You can just like casually play. Like I feel that Three Houses, you need to be like involved because of all the other stuff going on. You know, it feels like if you drop it for a while, you'll forget because of the calendar system. Like because you know it has a calendar system and like you have to do different tasks in between that. I mean, you can skip all that stuff in Three Houses, but it's still very involved. Whereas this game's just kind of like, here's the chapter, here's this base, which home bases aren't new. Home bases have been in Fire Emblem games in the past. So this one's just kind of more straight up. You know, some people like that, some people don't like it. But either way, I mean, it's like whatever. But you can just kind of play it casually.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Enjoying Fire Emblem. Definitely recommend it. Do we have a Discord question over there, Evan?
What failed gaming concept do you wish succeeded? Connect, Wii U, etc.
The Amico.
That's still coming out, right?
The Amico?
The Amico.
Did you guys see that Amico video?
I did. God, it's so good.
What was it? What failed what, Evan? What failed what?
Gaming concept, like the Kinect, like the Wii U. It's basically things that were kind of offbeat that just fell through.
I must want to say the Dreamcast, but that carried over because we ended up having online and all that. No VMU.
The memory cards, the VMUs. Yeah. I wish so. For those who didn't do it, the VMU, your memory card had a screen on it, and there would sometimes be games you could play, like your Chow could race and stuff. And when you took it home, it'd play better. You could also have it connect to another memory card. So on the playground, I only got to do it a couple times. You could have your like little Pokemon characters basically fight. I wish that like Nintendo had a thing. Since Nintendo has a cell phone app, it'd be cool if I could like take my Fire Emblem Engage file, put it on the phone, and go to my friend and battle him or something.
I have like benefits for it. Just to like, that's not a terrible idea, actually.
I'd be totally down. I actually talked about that quite a bit, Max. What I felt that like the next Switch or the next system was going to integrate. And I think I even said it one time on here. That'd be cool, like if you had like little things that you can download and play and have full integration and better ways to navigate the store, stuff like that's fully integrated with your next system. That would be super cool on a smartphone and doing stuff like that. Because like you said, the VMU stuff was incredible. Like my mind was blown.
I loved it. Yeah.
When I first saw VMU, I was like, what is this? Like I think I played, what was it? Sega Rally or something like that? You can play like a little game on the go.
It was so minimal, but it was actually kind of fun to just play little races.
If you play Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast and you have it plugged in and you look down, it has a little stick figure that'll follow your character's movements while you're hitting the ball. It's pretty cool. Or no, the best implementation was definitely for NFL, because you would pick your plays on the VMU. That made so much sense.
Oh yeah.
Resident Evil, some of the games would show your health on the VMU and some would say your current ammo. I like that. That was so cool.
Pretty cool too. Yeah.
I liked my favorite was Silent Scope. Remember that one? Where
oh no, what's that one?
It was a game where you had the sniper rifle and you would like take out like terrorists and stuff.
Big in the arcades.
So
with
the VMU, when you had the shot lined up, the VMU would actually like show like an animation of you like holding up the shot. It was really, really cool.
That's cool. I might have to check that out.
That game.
Yeah, I played Silent Scope in the arcades, but I never played it on a console.
A Dreamcast version is sick.
It's great. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. I have to check that. I will check that out, actually. I have a little GD emu. I might as well see how it is.
It was that era of arcade games where like the announcer would scream the intro to the game. Silent Scope. You know,
and that was the last. I remember the first time I played that game. I turned it on at midnight with a burned disc, and I put it on my Dreamcast, and he screamed "Silent Scope," and I literally like, oh god, like turned the TV off.
Those are the good days, man. Those are the good days. All right, let's let's go to, we'll talk about the Xbox stuff first, I guess. With Microsoft, with Halo, with 343, the whole thing. So we had news break. It was before the news actually came out. I think Jason Schreier reported on it and a few others that Microsoft is moving to lay off up to 10,000 employees by the end of Q3. So to my understanding, it's still ongoing right now, and the actual headcount for layoffs that they're at now and how many more would be coming, it's not really public. People are trying to gather the info and bring it together. But for the gaming side, it appears like Coalition was affected. 343 seemed to come up from like everyone. That was one of the biggest ones. Apparently they laid off the entirety of their HoloLens and augmented reality side, which HoloLens, I believe they had a contract with the Army, and that had to go back to the drawing board. It was worth the tune of like $500 million or something, and it didn't pass through Congress, so they went back to the drawing board, and they have $40 million to figure it out again. Which you go from the expected $500 million to $40 million, and I guess Microsoft was like, "Nah, we're cutting that out." So, but 343 came up a lot, and it was talked about quite a bit online by apparently a lot of ex-Halo developers too. Now there are people who have moved on from 343 because Microsoft has like, MVG, can you explain how this works exactly? There's like contractor position at Microsoft for a place like 343.
Yep.
To my understanding, it lasts up to 18 months, then they have to leave for a while, and then they can come back later on.
I'm not really sure why that would be the case, why they have to leave and then come back. It's maybe some type of state law thing or some type of law. But yeah, I mean, contracting in video games, especially AAA, is very, very common because, you know, you obviously just want that person available for the particular role for the duration of the project. And then after that, it's like, well, you know, we may want to hire you on full time if you do good work, but most of the time these contractors kind of just get rolled off and look for other things to do. So yeah, it's pretty common in the industry, and not in just the video games, in many other industries as well. Contract work is quite common.
Right.
I read that they said that they did it for tax purposes, which is that if you create a position, you get a tax write-off. So they constantly have it where they can be hiring huge chunks and then letting them go, and then they hire you again, so you get the tax write-off again. So they just keep doing it forever.
Yeah,
so
someone in the chat saying Washington state labor laws. So yeah, that makes sense. Maybe they can only work a maximum of 18 months, and then they have to, you know, finish up and then come back.
It seemed to be it was like the tech industry in general had a really bad week with layoffs. We had Meta, Google, Amazon. I mean, we're talking Unity. Like Unity. And some of these big ones, though, tens of thousands of layoffs. It was a lot all at once hitting, and announcements everywhere. And people were finding out they lost their job like overnight. It was pretty rough for what we're seeing online. 343 did come up as seemingly, for the gaming side of Microsoft, as one of the harder hit sectors. And there were a lot of reports getting out there, a lot of rumors getting out there too, a lot of speculation getting mixed in with the rumors and all of this. According to Jason Schreier, they seem to lose almost the entirety of their campaign side. And he clarified that the campaign side that was laid off was mostly responsible for doing bugs and fixes like that with the current campaign and the map that they had set up. Not necessarily were developing aspects for the campaign through DLC, because that's kind of where that led to with speculation and rumors. So I guess we'll start there with that. Is it better that, well, I was a little surprised that they hadn't worked on anything for campaign in terms of DLC. That one surprised me a bit because it felt like they were behind a bit because they were working on content for both aspects, multiplayer and campaign. Then it comes to find out that they were just in planning and conceptual stages, and they didn't actually have any tangible DLC being worked on right now. That part surprised me. I don't know if that surprised anyone else.
It did. Not so much that. I guess I did a big video talking about the layoffs and then separately the Halo stuff. And I guess it's kind of shocking just to see I mean, honestly, 343 Industries collapse because I mean they've done 3 Halo games now, and it's just weird to watch what feels like the complete canning of them. I mean, watching especially all those tweets from ex-developers talking about bad management and poor timelines and how this isn't even really an employee problem. It's just that nobody knew what the heck to do with Halo. It's weird to watch that.
They did put a statement out. This is from Pierre Hintz. Said Halo Master Chief are here to stay. 343 Industries will continue to develop Halo now and in the future, including epic stories, multiplayer, and more of what makes Halo great. People seem conflicted as if this is good or bad news, which is, I mean, they're saying Halo Master Chief is continuing, but I guess people are.
I think it was mainly to kind of silence some of that, all that BS rumors that was going around a few days ago, which I was the first one to tweet that.
MG was
bullshit, by the way.
He was true.
I was the first one. And Jason then corroborated it and all that sort of stuff later. But I think it was really just to let everyone know that, look, 343, whether you love us or hate us, we are the studio that makes Halo. It starts and stops with us. So we just want to reassure everyone and remind everyone that, you know, we're not going to be a support studio for anyone else. Halo is 343, and we're going to continue on. At least that was the message. I don't know on the execution side of that what that will look like over the next few years, but I think it was actually a pretty smart announcement to make on a Saturday, especially with all this kind of talk and rumors and stuff that's been going on over the last few days.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It definitely was to at least put that out there, because if you're quiet for too long, it does make people wonder and speculate further. So 343 still behind Halo, it looks like, still backing it, which I was a little confused about Twitter. I mean, I tend to be in general, but people were trying to figure out what to do with Halo now because they thought 343 was done, it was over, which there are stories that they lost a third of their workforce. I don't know how true that actually is, but it seems like a lot of people in general got laid off, but it seems like 343 percentage wise was affected pretty badly. But I mean, I saw people say like Halo's it's got to become a mature rated game because it's teen rated. They gotta go mature. That's the only direction for the franchise. And I'm thinking Halo's been mature rated for a while. They just went teen rated with Halo 5. So I think there are a lot of people who don't have a lot of experience with Halo on the Xbox side, not as much as I thought people would have. So I said if they want to try to go back to that, they need to go back to the mature rating, and they need to figure out why people were so caught off guard and enamored by that flood scene. Go do that. Go figure it out. You want a story that's shocking? That was crazy when that happened. So go back to those days.
I think they just need to maybe just make like the normal Halo game, because like I have all the Halo games.
Yeah,
I played them all, but like to me this felt so separated. You know, it was like, oh, you got a campaign here later, after multiplayer first, free to play. So right there, that already brings up, I know free to play is the big rage, I get it, you know, but right there, that immediately just makes me pause real quick, just for a second, you know? So maybe they can just make like Halo 3, but like new, and add some innovations to that, you know, like build upon that, and then just make some cool new stuff on top. I know easier said than done, you know, and I don't think Halo Infinite's bad. Like I played it a lot. I played it quite a bit, but I just got kind of tired of just like, okay, well, I'm just playing this over and over. But I'm not big on multiplayer in the first place, to be honest. But I wish they would just kind of go back to maybe like Halo 3-ish.
A lot of the stories that people were telling on Twitter, the ex developers, just everyone said there were communication problems. That was it. It was just like, hey, we tried to say this or this, and it just got lost in the shuffle. People were in and out constantly. It was hard to, I don't know if they get anything done, but I guess accomplish things together. It was a very odd thing to see thrown online. But Nate, you mentioned just in general, there's a lot of emotion flying around either way. So you kind of get, I don't say a skewed perspective, but definitely the very extreme pushes one way or the other.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of emotional testimony, for lack of a better term here, where you're going to have ex-employees come out and they're going to air their grievances that they had at the studio that they're no longer employed by. And we've seen this time and time again that it's always, not to use disgruntled, but it's going to be the employee who didn't have a good time at the company to be most vocal. And there's definitely valid criticism to throw at 343. It's clear that there's a management issue, and this goes well into the Bonnie Ross days. And with Halo Infinite, even going back pre-Halo Infinite, it feels as though they were a company who had employees who wanted to take Halo in a new direction, but management within the company and maybe even above within Microsoft itself wanted to retain something to the original trilogy. If Halo wants to do something new, do it. Completely break off what Halo was back on the original Xbox and 360 and do something new. Reboot the franchise. Don't be afraid to do it. They want to cling to that original idea so hard that we're continually just getting these recycled ideas where everything feels as though it's we've played the game before. And then they start to introduce new ideas, but they don't fully commit to it.
Yeah. I kind of look at what Sony did with God of War, where it wasn't like a reboot. They definitely changed a lot about that game and went in a fully different direction. That's the kind of chance that Microsoft needs to take with Halo. But I kind of feel like 343 can't do it in their current state or where they were before. Maybe they're restructuring and stuff, and maybe it's better now, but they would have, I mean, there were rumors that they tried to turn Halo into a hero shooter at one point.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's so risky. Like what Sony did with God of War, it was like a stroke of genius, but it was almost seems like they kind of had to do it at that point, right? Because like it's like, okay, you know, there's not many of these games like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, whatever, that are doing incredible. And if we want to reach like Last of Us type of sales numbers or whatever, we got to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Like we still have shooters that are here now, you know, that do great, just as typical shooters, whatever, Call of Duty or whatever the case is, right? And I know hero shooters are doing great too, but regular shooters can also do really good. So I feel that like Sony kind of like had to, and like they have the chops to do it, you know, like they have the experience. And Sony Santa Monica's made phenomenal single player God of War games before. You know, they just kind of hit a little bump at the end of the road there. But like with Halo, it's like, you know, they've made good multiplayer shooters before though, right? But I guess more people feel Bungie was like
Bungie was like peak. That was peak Halo. Was when Bungie was rolling.
343's not been as good. And then like they've never made a free to play shooter. So like you're going into something that's completely different than what your wheelhouse is. And on top of that, you're seen as like the second tier team anyway. So not only do you make a free to play, but then also you're the second tier team. So it just created what I think maybe what we have right now, you know?
Yeah.
You see,
they weren't really
situation
prepared.
with Halo Infinite, especially with the 343 news that came out this week, that is baffling, is that they come out and say, we had nothing additional planned for campaign and single player.
Right.
Which I don't, maybe at the current moment, it wasn't active, but at some point down in the line, there were definitely discussions and expansions were planned. And let's just assume what they're saying this week is accurate. It was never planned. Then what was the rush to get the campaign out in 2021 as it was, only to become feature complete? I use air quotes on that, a year later. You could have waited to release Halo Infinite with full features of online co-op and all of that in holiday of 2022. There was no reason to rush the game if you had nothing planned for it beyond what we currently have.
It was like a No Man's Sky situation where they were coming out and saying things, but there was really no sheet of paper that said you can't say these things publicly. You know what I'm saying? Because Chris Lee was the one that said this is a 10-year game, right? He said that, but like Chris Lee got fired, or he left 343 years ago, right? Like. And the other thing about the campaign thing was like I heard it was like something that someone said on a podcast one time.
Well,
like, you know what I'm saying?
It was a composer, which made it seem more real. The composer of the game said something like, "I'm writing music for the campaign DLC." So everyone was like, "Oh, this must be real." But you know, who knows?
And that's one of the issues that I think has hurt the game, because there's all these expectations because of some throwaway thing that one of the devs said or one of the higher ups said. And people are like, well, wait, where's the 10-year game? Where's the campaign DLC? Where's all this stuff that, you know, someone on a podcast said like 6 months ago or 1 year ago, but there was never like any Xbox Wire like press release or anything that mention anything along any of those things, So I think, again, it just goes back to leadership. And at 343, it was dysfunctional. It was clearly in a really, really bad place where there was all sorts of things going on. Most of the things we probably don't even know about that happened there. And honestly, it's a revolving door. Like, I know people that worked at 343 that left. I know people that still work at 343. And I've heard the same stories that Jason has reported on as well. It's just the tools there are not very good. It's a bit of a revolving door for people to come in and out. A lot of people like leave 343 to go back to Bungie, all that sort of stuff. It's always been just a bit of a mess at 343, and I don't really know why it's continuing. But with this, with this, like, being their rock bottom. I mean, you have to think that this is rock bottom for them, right? For the studio,
has to be.
They can only regroup and start to rebuild from here, and hopefully they do it in the right way and they learn from everything that's happened, over the last 10, 12 years with that studio, because it's been really, really bad.
It does seem weird to me that their big flagship intellectual property, the studio behind it that's responsible solely for it, reportedly lost a third of their workforce. That seems weird.
Yeah.
And I will say the 343 debacle, I mean, you got to go up all the way up the ladder for that one, I assume. Like you probably got to go past. You got to go up to Phil Spencer on that.
Oh, yeah.
That's something he has to take charge of immediately and go, hold on.
This is Matt Booty, in my opinion. Like you need to have a conversation with him about this one.
I'll get on it. I'll take care of it.
I think it goes beyond. I mean, I think you have to blame.
I'll take care of it.
A booty call, you say?
I was waiting for Max to say something. You gonna take a booty call, John?
The booty call?
Good. What are you saying, Nate?
I mean, I think you have to look. It falls on Spencer, Matt, Bonnie Ross, and anyone else at 343 management, that if this was a case of miscommunication, constantly changing of ideas, having no vision of what the game is supposed to be, blame falls on all of them. This was a matter of, they came out back at E3 2018, where they showed the Slipspace engine. It then took 3 years for us to actually get the game, and it didn't even look like the trailer that they showed us for an Xbox One game.
You remember when they showed us the game, though? Remember they showed us Halo Infinite first, and everyone on the internet was like, what is this?
Craig face.
And then people were doing interviews afterwards. They were like, oh, some people in the chat are saying it doesn't look very good. I think it looked good, though. And they were just getting destroyed online because it was like, this is supposed to be hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investment, and this doesn't.
It just feels as though everything with the game went wrong at some point of development. And yeah, Joseph Staten come in. He righted the ship during his very brief tenure to essentially get the game out in the most complete.
He did at least ship the game. He shipped the game. Yeah, I'll give him that.
But everything about the game, in retrospect, it should have been delayed an additional year. And they really needed to actually have a blueprint of what they wanted to deliver. This was a ship without a captain that crashed into land, and they said, it's good enough, we made it. And now they're abandoning it.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I want to specifically hear Spawn's thoughts on this, because I grew up a lot with the original trilogy. I competed in Halo tournaments back in the day and lost spectacularly. There was a rawness, it felt like, to Halo 1, 2, and 3, which is that it really felt like every map was so hand placed, every gun's balancing, even if it was sometimes askew. Something about it felt so like personally done for the gamers. And man, I feel like 4, 5, and now Infinite feels so like art by committee. It feels like every decision was made by a boardroom of executives and stuff. Like, as much as I had fun with Infinite, it feels so soulless. Do you think we can even get back to that like charm that the old games have? It feels almost impossible now.
I feel like they can eventually. That's tough.
I don't know, John, if you're still playing Halo, but like I haven't played it for.
I check in front with it from time to time, but they just haven't put anything compelling. Like they've done some battle passes where it's like, hey, look, here's different armor pieces that are this one's blue. It's like, okay, great. And that's kind of it. They haven't done much else. When they do a new map now, like they did the pit, right? I went to that and I'm like, this feels like the Forge map that it is. It's that, you know, it's like, wait, why did they make 2 maps? It took them this long to make 2 maps and they just made it in Forge? That seems weird because people are already doing some really cool things in Forge. Someone made like a Mario Kart game in Forge, right? They made Andy's bedroom from Toy Story in Forge. And like, they're like, here's the pit. Took us a while, but we got it, guys. It's like, what? What I think. So one of the reasons I like that the rumor and speculation about them being the center point 343 and being the main developer on multiplayer, but then also exploring options of other studios creating story content is that they could have original content that takes place away from Master Chief, but it's all set up in a timeline. So they could follow a Spartan who just exists way out there. Like, I'm excited for Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis was just created, right? Like they figured it out. They worked with Disney. Hey, we're going to make this Jedi. And here's what's happening. They're in hiding. They're going to come out. They're going to become the Jedi Master, all this stuff. Great. You could kind of do that with Halo, create a Spartan. Don't have them ever interact with Master Chief, at least for a long time, because that was one of the reasons people had like in Halo 5, you had Master Chief getting beaten up randomly. It's like, I don't get it.
John Locke stuff.
I don't get it, right? That's what people were like revolting against that. Just go create a Spartan somewhere, or even create like a shock trooper or something, a jumper. And it's like, hey, you're going to follow this person and you're not a Spartan. You see the Spartans from outside of their viewpoint and they're these mythical figures, but like the ODST feel. There's so many things they could do, create lore outside of this, and then place it in the Halo Infinite platform, the universe. They could figure that out. That's why I like that idea, because you can have multiple strands of campaign or just DLC going with other studios and just kind of lock it in so you have a new piece of content every year. It's that I like that idea. And it's to me, it's kind of a shame that might not be the case, because I think that would have been a better way for them to go. But apparently Certain Affinity's working on something. So
well, I love that idea, because I read the Halo books, and sometimes the best stories are the short story compilation Evolutions, which is just like, here's random people fighting the Covenant on asteroids way the hell out in space. I would love to have a playable bit of, show us those weird fringes of lawlessness in the Halo universe.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way I would go about it, but I don't know. First, they got to update multiplayer. That's the first thing they got to do. So the good news is, I'll give him to him. Pierre Heinz, he proved himself in Master Chief Collection. So let's see what he's got for Infinite. If he can figure it out with the next season drop in, isn't that in 2 months?
Yeah, you're not going to see anything with that. That's too immediate.
What? Hold on a minute. Oh, you mean like, okay, never mind. You mean
it'll be fine.
It's not getting delayed. It's coming out in 2 months.
No, it's going to come out in 2 months. It's going to be exactly what they outlined. You're not going to get some meaningful evolution that's going to all suddenly spark great interest in the game. Any meaningful change is going to take a year or more.
I'm thinking holiday 2023 when Certain Affinity drops the Battle Royale. That's the pivot. That's the big change.
Yeah, I'm not excited for that Battle Royale at all. I'll play it, but I have no hype for it.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm hopeful. They've been working on it for almost 3 years now, and they have 100 developers and employees on it. So
it's just bathrooms and trains. We're good.
Hey, there you go. See, that's all it is. That's all it is. Evan, do we have a Discord question over there?
I guess people are still referring to this. When are the PS5 and Xbox Series going to stop being called next gen?
I stopped calling it next gen now. I just call it current gen now. We're more 2 years in.
I still call it next gen because I'm stupid.
The PS4 just still seems so current because of the way they've treated this cross gen period. So
I've been calling it current. I've just been calling like the games that are the current gen, just because it's current.
Yeah. I think we're there. That's my answer. I think we're there. We're good now.
3 years, going on 3 years now. So
be 3, yeah, because we're in 20. Yeah, at the end of this year, be 3 years completed. So, time flies. You have another one, Evan?
Is emulation game preservation, and why?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can't buy the game, can't find it. There you go. It's been preserved. You can download it.
Can you download Contra Rebirth on the Wii anymore? Nope, but you can download Dolphin and play it on a emulator.
There you go. That'll work. You have another one, Evan? We go to super chats
Has
as well.
anyone picked up and tried the Hori Split Pad Compact?
The Compact, no. I had the Split Pad Pro. That was the Daemon X Machina brand that I had. I have not tried the Compact. I might at some point.
This person claims it feels good on the OLED.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Good.
It looked great when I saw it, but then they're like, no rumble, and I was like, this is not fun. Like, why don't you have rumble? It's just basic rumble, but
Because rumble is bad. Yeah, that's right. I'm out here.
Go over to some of the super chats. We have Devil Cookie who says #pray for RGT.
True.
That's right. Shout out RGT. I don't know if he's still in the chat. May have gone to sleep, but he'll be back. Sean will be back. AJ says it's the end of January and 130 days since the Nintendo Direct on September 13th. Where is GoldenEye? That's the real question. I heard GoldenEye's coming out next week.
MVG, where's GoldenEye?
Isn't that the answer? Yeah. Where's GoldenEye?
I know. No idea.
It's with Banjo.
MVG's fault.
I'll take it.
I heard it's out this week though. Right? They're gonna announce that the Xbox Direct. That's what I heard.
Oh.
Twitter was saying that.
I've been hearing that. I swear I have heard that every week for the last like 6 weeks.
Hey, what was the N64 game actually for January?
Nothing.
So it could be GoldenEye.
Zero.
There we go.
F-Zero X. Just
This
play that
week-
game again.
This week coming up, drop GoldenEye on the Xbox and on the Switch. There it is. Just take care of everything all at once. Jalen says, shout out to RGT. Hope you have a speedy recovery. Travis says, One Piece Odyssey. I've played a couple hours of that game. I need to get back to it, but now I have Fire Emblem and then Dead Space, and the games are piling up.
And Forspoken, of course.
Yeah, that sure. Snack says, all right, OJ, we're upping the stakes. 250k subs on your channel, and you gotta course everyone on the Spawncast to play Jump Force with you. Good luck. Ooh, Jump Force. Fighting game of the year nominee.
Yeah. Hopefully we hit that one of these days. And everybody, sure, play Jump Force with me.
I'll do it. If you hit it, unironically, I will.
I'll do it.
Where's Fringe? Fringe has it, so he has the best version of Jump Force.
Jordan has the special edition.
Yeah.
I've got multiple copies of Jump Force. I've got it on Xbox, I've got it on Switch, I've got it on PlayStation, so I can play any version of Jump Force you guys want me to play.
Are you okay? It seems like a cry for help.
I'm actually not okay.
Yeah, I can tell.
But that's okay. We don't have to worry about that now.
You show it to your doctor and they give you medication. That's a lot of Jump Force.
I'm not okay, but I'll be all right.
Mitchell says, prayers for Sean. Finally got a PS5 digital God of War bundle. Great compliment to my Series X first time live. Listen at work every Monday. Shout out to Mitchell. Spooky says, I'm glad my boy RGT is alive and well. Also, how do we join the Discord? And MVG, is it fair to dislike High on Life after just 1 hour of gameplay? Man, people still after you on that, MVG.
Okay, so I have a follow-up to High on Life.
Okay. He played more.
Well, I mean, it's not much, right? So I don't get too excited. But someone was like, you didn't even get the knife. So I was like, all right. So I played it again and I got the knife, right? And I was like, yeah, this game still is terrible. So I deleted it. I'm
man.
Done. Sorry. So I'm like an hour and like 12 minutes into the game.
I made it to the. I didn't make it to the end of character creation. I played the first 30 seconds of the tutorial and I shut it off.
Evan, the Discord though, that's linked to the Patreon.
It's through Patreon, or you can become a member here on YouTube.
On YouTube, and that links to it. Okay, very good. South Coast says, Corrin P2 got a reprint this Friday, likely for a new Fire Emblem game. Prices went from 200 to 50 real quick. Gives hope for future reprints for collectors. Jeff says, shout out to RGT. Get well soon. Funniest and most authentic YouTuber out there. Xbox lost PlayStation 1. Says, when are we going to admit Xbox buying studios is bad? They're laying off staff at Bethesda and they haven't done anything for them yet.
I mean, the optics is really bad at this.
It is, right? Because they also
they let go 10,000 people and they're gonna reacquire 10,000 different people when they do the acquisition of APK.
of nearly $70 billion.
Yep.
And they're going to fire a bunch of those people because that's what happens every time.
Yeah, it is kind of concerned because they're going to bring in, I assume, positions that'll be viewed as redundant because they'll have two of the same positions just next to each other at the same desk, and they're going to look at each other and be like,
middle
hold on a minute.
management. Well, a lot of middle management will not survive.
Yeah. That's you're right. That'll probably happen as well there. Oof, that's going to be rough. Oh, that deal keeps getting more and more roadblocks put in front of it. So I don't know. We'll just see with that. Let's see. We have dude says, "Hey guys, I'm building a spreadsheet for my Switch collection tonight. Just wondering if any of you guys catalog your game libraries. I've been getting a little paranoid about losing games. I've thought about that multiple times with things like my GameCube collection, because there was an app on a phone that you can just like basically checkbox different things, complete or not. I haven't gotten around to doing that though, but
sounds like some serial killer shit.
It's actually not a bad idea for when you go to a convention or you're at a place that has games, because there are times where I bought a game and I come back and I'm like, I already had that game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would never do that, because like sometimes like I'm going through my closet or something and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about I had this game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
just has games hidden in like all around his house.
Yeah. Find a game like a year later. It's like, oh yeah,
just Neo Geo AES games coming out of the ceiling.
Oh,
like
Jesus,
geez.
I wish I had that.
I just have a Google Doc. I have a massive Google Doc, and I just manually typed in all the game consoles and then alphabetized them all, so I wouldn't buy duplicates. And I also did it so that if I ever wanted to sell anything, I could easily just look stuff up from there instead of walking over to the shelves one by one.
Switch Realm says, "What's up, guys? Sorry for not joining for the whole thing. Engage is fire. Go Eagles. OJ, be ready for Eagles next week. Love you guys."
I get past the Cowboys first. That's not going to be an easy game, in my opinion, but hopefully they do.
Yeah, the Eagles looking pretty good. They got Danny Dimes. They got Danny Dimes asking for change right now. So I'm good.
They are blowing out the Giants right now. Like literally.
It's 28-0.
Giving them the business right now.
That doesn't look like a playoff game. So
look, the Giants look like the Giants.
Yeah. Two Boys says OJ is good at explaining games. I agree. There you go. Joe says, thoughts on the rumored Kirby Air Ride Deluxe for 2024.
There's a rumor.
There's a rumor for a Kirby Air Ride Deluxe.
I think where that's coming from is now that there's been a bunch of remaster rumors, people are just throwing stuff out there.
Okay.
This is going to get remastered. And, we have the Baten Kaitos, we have the Kid Icarus, Metroid Prime. So I think people are just throwing stuff out there now.
Yeah.
Coke Slurpees says Sonic Shuffle is the best use of VMU. You can look at your cards while they are hidden on screen. VMU is required for each player. See, that's clever as well. You look at your hand for your cards. That's a good idea. D Jones says these Microsoft layoffs are a reminder that they are a tech company first and foremost and a game publisher second. Just feels like Microsoft will never care about gaming to the same extent as other publishers. I mean, they care enough to spend almost $70 billion on Activision Blizzard. That is a lot of caring, but
yeah.
I think Phil Spencer cares.
Yeah. Well, what I said in my video talking about the original layoffs is that it's also just a matter of scale, which is that, like, I mean, it's difficult to even imagine. Microsoft has 200,000 employees, so they are going to trim down by percentiles here and there. So this is a 5% loss to them is bigger than a 5% loss to Sony. Or remember a couple of years ago when Blizzard fired 800 people, that was like 5% of their workforce. It's kind of just a matter of, honestly, Microsoft is just so big, their downsizes hurts more individual people.
What's interesting though is, didn't they make record profits last year and Satya Nadella pocketed $59 million?
Yep. And that's that was the same thing with Blizzard too, is Blizzard had record sales with Overwatch the year that they fired everybody. It's a scam. It's
all stock market stuff. Let's be real. It's all Wall Street
stock
stuff.
Market and stockholders. Pretty much every tech company who had significant layoffs this month had record-breaking revenue. It has nothing to do about their revenue charts for right now. It's the higher ups are saying we have to cut somewhere because the future doesn't look good.
Yeah, a lot of investors are worried about that about the rest of this year and in 2024. And the easiest way for them to calm fears is look how many expenses we're cutting right now. Look at it all.
Yeah.
So
this is just the beginning. This is going to continue for the next several months. You're going to see this more and more in the news. It's just not going to be in the headlines that gamers are going to care about unless it's a gaming company.
And I get it's business, and all that, but man, like, they should take some responsibility. Like, they're the ones who are leading the companies. Why don't you cut your pay? What I'm saying? Like, why don't you take a little bit less? You make $50 million, bro. You can make, and I'm not trying to take money out anybody's pockets. Like, I get it. But if the company's not doing as well, that's a reflection on you too. So you get no penalties whatsoever. You're just, let me get it. A lot of these guys are probably going to get pay increases. You know what I'm saying? They're probably going to get paid jumps, and yet the company's doing worse off. I mean, that's on you, right? So I think there should be some responsibility or accountability. But once again, I know that's a pipe dream in the current corporate tech business. Not everybody's 99% of companies are not going to do that. So whatever.
There was a Satoru Iwata quote I found that I think was from almost 10 years ago. And I had to say it was honestly the most hardcore awesome thing I've ever heard from a game executive. But he said, I always try and hold off on layoffs as long as possible, because if I'm trying to get my developers to make cool, fun games that families will enjoy, I don't want them afraid while doing that. So I want to make sure that if I can cut my own pay and keep more employees, I will always do that. And I'm like, that is the most insanely freaking cool thing I've ever heard somebody say.
I just want to give a shout out here to Dark Type for becoming a member, saying just make Halo a 2D Hollow Knight Blasphemous-like game. JK, but anyways, have a great weekend, y'all. Keep up the amazing content. Hey, you know what?
Just drop it on the Switch. Just drop it on the Switch.
There you see, we're getting there. At this point, I'll try anything for Halo. I don't care.
It's not hard. 343. Just call up Nintendo and say, look, we need to talk.
They're gonna remember that Halo DS game? We're gonna make it a reality. Here we go. Let's talk about Nintendo. We had the Switch. We had talks about first off, Nate had a good podcast. He talked with John Linneman and MVG about the Switch, some of the past stuff that had happened. So go listen to that if you're curious about a timeline of events that involved the current Switch now, the OLED Switch, and a shelved revision. I think that's everything, right? You guys talked about there. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys did also speculate around the idea of when the next Switch, or when Nintendo will be prepared to move along from it. And you guys threw out some dates, which or years really in time periods, which is funny because this happened after you guys recorded that, right?
We recorded on Tuesday morning and the episode aired Thursday morning. So I think the Bloomberg report came out January 19th. Takashi Mochizuki exclusive. Nintendo plans to make more Switch units in the next fiscal year starting April versus the current term. Unusually aggressive move for a game console going into its 7th year on the market. They're currently slated to hit 19 million units, which they have actually downgraded multiple times now throughout this year. But that means that they would, if they increase production, they would actually go above that for the next fiscal year, which would be April 2023 until the end of March 2024. So if we were to just go along with what Mochizuki says here, which I will say forecasts, financials, that kind of stuff is in the wheelhouse of Bloomberg, more so than trying to say something about a 4K Switch. We'd be looking at, you would assume, minimum 20 million Switch systems, which I don't, this has never happened before in gaming. Typically, you get the bell curve of you peak at some point, then you slowly taper off with your sales of systems. That's not what's going to happen here if they actually do it. And if they are able to accomplish that, they will be on the doorstep of PS2 and DS numbers. By interesting that you bring up the PS2.
April 2024.
Which sale figure are you using for PS2's lifetime total?
It's like 150 million, right?
There's some dispute about that, actually.
Oh,
Sony's last official figure that they put out in a report before they changed how they've reported hardware is 155, but the PS2 was still selling. They were still producing them. So the actual figure is actually closer to about 160.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What's the, let me see what it was the last reported. Okay, the last reported number we have here, January 2013, is 158.7 million.
I thought that's what most people go by, 158 million.
158.7. So they would be off by
they're roughly off by about $1 million. The lowest, the minimum they would be at is 159.2. The maximum would be 161.9.
No, I mean Nintendo when they complete their
Nintendo,
their financial, they'd be at like 147 or something like that by April 2024 if they actually accomplish that 20 million move.
If they hit the fiscal forecast for this fiscal year and the coming fiscal year.
And then what, you assume a cross-gen period of like a year and a half to 2 years? Like of them still selling, like what they did with the 3DS, where they had an E3 Direct where there was 3DS stuff in it next to the Switch stuff.
Potentially.
Yeah.
At least a year minimum.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. They could taper. If you go from 20 million to 2 million sold, that's a massive decline. I would assume they'd still have some getting out there to stores where maybe they turn in a 10 million the following year or something. And then it's like,
drop it by then, like 2 years from now. And that's what I'm guessing. The production boost is because of Zelda. I think that's pretty much the big reason. Zelda's coming out and more people are going to buy Zelda. So
I kind of wonder if they have if that 2D Mario is an actual thing as well.
They're going to have some other stuff for the rest of the year. So we don't know when Metroid Prime 4 is coming. We don't know when Pikmin 4 is coming. We don't know. But there's some other stuff coming out for the second half. So I think they'll probably, I mean, we don't know if there's like a new Pokemon Legends or something like that. There could be some Pokemon game. So I think that's the reason why they're anticipating maybe a bit more. But Zelda OLED, that'd be the thing that I would point to and say, yeah, they're going to do that. That's the biggest reason why. Could
they be anticipating an uptick in sales because of the Mario movie as well?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be factored in.
I think so.
Okay, because I think that's going to be I think that movie's going to do really well, just in general, box office. From what we've seen with just series like Cyberpunk Edge Runner, that revived Cyberpunk completely. The game. It did, yeah. And remember the press, all the stuff that was going on back then, and now 100,000 people are playing the game. It's crazy. So you got the Mario movie out there from Illumination. I think that's going to get a lot of people interested in the Switch who maybe didn't even have one, or just Mario in general.
Look at The Last of Us this week, like the TV show that came out. I mean, everyone is talking about it. Like a lot of people saying, I want to play the games. I want to play the games now. Like I never played the games before. So
I think the game sales it's on the charts. I saw the amount of people buying Last of Us Part 1 jumped up.
Yeah, there was a lot of like TikTok and social media engagement that was showing people were buying the game because they saw the premiere episode on HBO. Sony also put the trial up on PlayStation Store for the remake of Part 1. So this is what we were anticipating with The Last of Us back when they announced it, is that they were doing this because of the TV show, and right now it looks as though it is paying dividends.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen The Witcher all of a sudden had a massive spike in sales for games after that series debuted. So it's proven effective if you have a good product in terms of the media. As long as it's not like Final Fantasy Spirits Within or something, you're probably going to do okay. And that Mario movie has like big blockbuster written all over it, just from the trailers we've seen. And they have their theme park that they've launched in Hollywood. So it's, I feel like all the stuff outside of games is probably going to work to boost Switch sales. That might be another factor. And some games they'd announce, like we just said, a Mario, a Metroid, Zelda. There could be some other things thrown in. I know people were really excited about Pikmin Online. I know that's also not a big series that's going to make it so you have to get the Switch, but it's just more games thrown in there as well.
I keep seeing those rumors about a new Mario game, and I went back and played some Odyssey randomly this week, and I was just having so much fun that I'd kind of forgotten about. So I feel like I'm almost most excited.
It's a smooth game. Even if you go back and play it now, it's real smooth. Like the 60 frames, the platforming, it's great.
Going to a random planet, and then I just put on random costumes that I unlocked and running around all the environments. It looks so good. It really has that Mario 64 vibe. It really makes me go, all right, I'm glad I already bought Fire Emblem. That comes tomorrow. I'm really excited for Zelda. And then it's like, yeah, I think what would really complete this year for me is, man, I really hope we do get a Mario this year.
Yeah, you have that. Maybe you have that Metroid Prime remaster kind of thrown in there as well.
Oh yeah.
I think they're gonna have a few surprises after Zelda, but I don't know if they're gonna have another Zelda in the tank. The only thing that would shock me, and I'd be like, okay, that makes sense why they're doing it, is if they actually had another Mario Kart ready to go. Then I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. In 2024.
I would be shocked if Mario Kart wasn't a like cross-gen or Switch.
That's what I'm thinking. Cross-gen, yeah. That would make sense.
I'd be shocked, but
I mean, Nintendo knows if they wanted to do Mario Kart next year in 2024, they would make a stupid amount of money. So,
has there ever been 2 Mario Kart games on a single?
I mean, we're still waiting for the Mario Kart game for this generation to show up.
Wait, it didn't.
No, but you know,
no, I don't think so.
No, it's usually a single game per generation.
Just one per. Yeah, one per generation.
Oh, for some reason I thought 2 came out on the 3DS, but I guess it was just 7.
Mario Kart 7, yeah.
Just 7.
Weird.
Just 7.
And so I'm still waiting. Like I said, I'm still waiting for this one to show up. So maybe if it's cross-gen, they can claim that it was the Switch one all along or something. It keeps selling really well. I don't know. It's the same effect we're getting with the Switch now. It keeps selling well, so Nintendo kind of hang on and take their time. And
I have people telling me that it's my fault, and they referenced what you said, John, because I bought my nephew Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I just didn't give him my copy that I have. I bought him another one.
Hey, it's Mario. It's easy. Mario Kart's like the easiest gift ever for everyone likes Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was gonna buy him New Super Mario Bros, but they had it in the back. I was like, just screw it. Give me Mario Kart.
Oh, you wait till that Mario movie comes out. That Mario Kart 8 Deluxe about to take top spot in the UK or something. Everyone's just gonna be confused.
It was so funny. Yeah, the dude at Target was like, "Oh, you want New Super Mario Bros?" There's one in the back. I was like, "Bro, no, you don't have to do all that. Just get me Mario Kart so I can go."
Dude, I can see them like having some type of limited thing on where they just give free tickets away for every copy of Mario Kart you purchase or something like that.
So
that's happening.
I can see a cross promotion like that. Definitely. Yeah, they run that. But all right, let's get serious here for a minute, because if we have 20 million going into 2024, the end of that fiscal year. Well, it'd be April 2024 is when it starts. I would assume they're not going to have a huge drop off from that. I mean, do they launch the next system holiday 2024, or do we actually go into 2025 where they launch their system?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
I'm kind of thinking we could, because I heard Nate say that, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're talking 2025, and I thought about it, I'm like, if they want to keep that schedule where they don't launch in the holiday, but they launch in the spring or first quarter, I'm like, they would go to 2025.
I'm still thinking 2024, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm thinking about it from the standpoint that they're just going to transition things, just based off of how I felt, how they've spoken at their investor meetings. So I think it's just going to be a transition. If the game comes out on Switch, that's fine. They can just play it on there. I think it's going to use a lot of the same tools and stuff. I don't feel that they're going to change things up dramatically outside of like a few key, gimmicks that they'll have. And that's just kind of how I feel they're just going to transition it. It seems like Furukawa, when was the last time he even spoke? I think the dude just wants everything to just be easy as possible and as normal as possible. Like I said, I haven't heard him. I was looking for footage from him, like speaking. Dude, since like he was shaking that other guy's hand, Kimishima, the last guy, that was the last footage that I've seen of this guy. I think it was
he doesn't appear in the directs or anything really.
He doesn't appear in directs. Dude's like silent. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that a guy like that isn't trying to do anything. Like, he wants a transition. He wants all the games to be ready, and they can afford that this time. I think with the Wii U, Wii was just doing so bad in the 5th year or so, So they were kind of like, we need to get something out, and I don't think everything was ready. With the Switch, they actually took a little bit of extra time. Like, some people back then, people were saying that it might come out 2016. Heck, I thought it was going to be 2016, but they actually took a little bit more time to get everything ready. So I feel that, they could do 2025, but I feel it's going to be more of 2024 because that's when the games, like, from all.
Do you think they tackle the holiday 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can launch it anytime they want. I mean, honestly, I think the Switch proved that you can just launch it whenever. But I think that the most important thing is the launch lineup of games. Like, I get people talking about like power and all. Like, I'm there with you guys. I want something new too. Like, people make like
Mario Kart.
But I think that you need like stuff to convince other people to buy this system. People that currently buying Switch, they can have a more powerful system. They'll be like, okay, cool. But I need to play something new. So you need to make sure, and not only that, but you need to make sure that you have a consistent flow of games. That's the smart thing to do. Launching it and just saying, oh, well, we have this, that's it. Right. That's what 3DS did. That's what Wii U did. That's a bad idea. You're going to get hardcore gamers to go out there and buy it, but you're not going to get those other people to buy it because they're going to be like, I'm okay with Switch. So I feel that that's the most important thing that they do is make sure that their launch lineup is ready to go and launch it and make sure that you have games consecutively. And I think that's what they're going to do. That's just what I feel they're going to do.
I think they're going to drop it summer 2024. I have a feeling that they're going to really focus on their games this year and really try and blow it out. But I think this year we're going to notice them talking less about the Switch. They're going to be really pushing those games. And I feel like we'll see a holiday bundle this year and then the Zelda OLED. And then I do feel like they're going to clear out all their stock. And then I feel like very early 2024, they're going to come out and do a Switch style reveal. I still feel like that reveal was so good of being like, here's a guy, here's someone playing it, here's people having a rooftop party, even though they probably are intoxicated while playing 1-2 Switch. I don't know. I think that's a good reveal for whatever the next Switch is, to show people playing it. And then, like OJ is dead right, my biggest problem with the Switch when it came out was the fact that it had like 6 games, and I did not give a crap about Bomberman R.
That was funny when we went to the Switch. They did like a whole thing where you'd go out to it and they let you play games and stuff and you try out things, and they were like, hey, let's go try Disgaea, and people were like, what? When we get in line for Zelda, like, hold on, you gotta try Bomberman R, and it's like, what are you talking about? Everyone just wanted to play Zelda, so they were trying hard. You'd walk around, you could just jump right on the couch and play any of these other games. But
I was excited for Bomberman R, but it wasn't very good.
it was just funny. Everyone was there to play Zelda, and the people, like the handlers, were trying so hard to get people to play anything else, and everyone's like, nah, I'm gonna wait for an hour in this line. Thank you though, I'm good. Here's your Switch cookie. They give you like cookies that look like a Switch.
You got to have that big killer app at launch, and then the next month or two have that. They had Mario Kart for the Switch, but like I think Splatoon and ARMS came out after that. So you just have to have that continuation. That's you can't rely. I know people hate when I say this, but you can't rely on third party like to push a Nintendo system. People already have Xbox and PlayStation.
Third party in a minute with some of these games service. So I kind of agree with some of that.
people, and I know, like I said, people say third party is important. I get that, but that was the Wii situation, and if the games don't play as good as on PS5 and Xbox Series, that's going to be a complaint. So I feel that you can't rely upon third party to push your system if you're Nintendo.
Microsoft and Sony, they're getting Call of Duty though. They're going to get Warzone stuff. So
and that's great, but most people are just going to be like, nah, I'm good on PS, because those systems have better online features. They're going to have better graphics. They're going to have better resolution. We all know this already, even with the next system.
But OJ, you can't take it to the bathroom with you. Play.
You can't sit in the bathroom in Warzone and kill people while actually in the bathroom.
Makes Skyrim and The Witcher and all those games so amazing. You can just take it with you.
You're absolutely right, but
I would like to get to the point where we have like the JRPGs and stuff that definitely fit in really well with the Switch's setup with the hybrid nature, and we don't have to worry about, okay, Tales of Rise looks cool, there's no Switch load, that kind of thing. It's like, oh well, there's definitely on this system, and it's there every time. That's really the only state I'd like to get to. If it doesn't have, to me, if it doesn't have Madden, I don't care as much, that kind of thing. But like Soul Hackers 2, when that pops up, I'm like, I already know it's on the,
or like Kingdom Hearts 3 back when that came out. Absolutely, I think that's the biggest issue. I agree, because I think all of those developers probably want to put it on there. I don't think every Western developer wants to support Nintendo, in my opinion, to that. Like, I don't think everyone wants to, because they feel that maybe their games won't sell as much, or whatever the case. Just like there's a lot, and I get killed for saying this too, there's a lot of Japanese developers who don't want to support Xbox. They don't want to. Their games don't sell. So you don't see Atelier Ryza. It's more than powerful enough to run Atelier Ryza, right? But it's not on there. So like it's the same thing. Like there's a ton of games. I mean, the Pixel remasters are not on Xbox.
That one was a little like,
they don't want to. Like they don't want to, because they don't think it's gonna sell. They don't feel it's worth it. So the same type of thought process can be applied.
That's one I would have cut. I would have cut the check if I was Microsoft for that on Game Pass. That would have been a cool one to have. But, well, there you go. But
or even like Octopath 2. That's more than power. Obviously, Xbox can run that easy, but it's not on there.
Yep. Yeah, they paid for Octopath 1, got that port completely done, but 2, it's very weird because then 1's not on PlayStation.
Yeah,
it's very strange. The situation is very weird. It's very weird.
And it's like every company too.
Was that MVG?
Sorry, my bad, MVG.
Reminds me of Titanfall, because remember Titanfall was an Xbox exclusive.
Yep.
And then Titanfall 2 was on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
Or even stuff you look at like Persona 5 Strikers. It's like we knew that the deal was coming for Xbox with Persona, or at least they knew. They were probably working out a deal for Persona 3, 4, and 5. But then Strikers, they didn't even bother putting that on. Like they didn't even bother putting that on Xbox at all. And that's a fantastic, sequel to the base Persona 5.
It is a shockingly good sequel.
Yeah, it's shockingly good. Like in some ways better than Persona 5. Some ways, not every way, but some ways better than Persona 5. So it's just they don't feel like it. Sometimes they don't feel like it. But I agree with you, John. Like I agree that that next system needs to come. I think that everybody, like a lot of people, want that, and I feel it will. I think Nintendo already talked about that. It's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm curious how they navigate the rest or this fiscal year coming up. Then, if that will indeed be their forecast. The thing is, though, I noticed we won't actually know if this is a correct report from Bloomberg until May. Yeah, because that's when Nintendo would share the forecast for that fiscal year. So
that's what I was trying to tell people. I was like,
first
guys,
week of May.
This is a report. It's not necessarily something that's been confirmed. So let's wait and see.
So we will find out, and we'll also find out if Nintendo can pull off 20 million in the 7th year of a system. That's I don't think I've never seen that before. So hey, if they can do it, good for them. Good for them. We have any other Discord questions, Evan?
Yeah, still got a bit left.
Okay,
This is a question for pretty much anyone. Who on the Spawncast has the most similar taste to you, and who is the most different?
Evan is the most different from everybody.
Yeah, I hate all the games you guys like. I don't understand it.
I don't know about that. Me and Evan, we have some similarities. I know
there's hit and misses. Yeah.
Yep.
Windjammers for fucking life.
Evan's a Plague Tale guy. Respect.
Yeah, but don't touch a console at all.
Fuck that shit.
You finished Plague Tale Requiem yet, MVG?
No. I'm on Crisis Core right now. I've almost finished that.
Hell yeah.
Then I'm going to go back and finish Requiem.
I think in a weird way, the games that MVG loves are always the games that I love. I don't think there's ever been a game that MVG has been like 10 out of 10 that I disagreed with. I think that he and I on the low tier sometimes disagree, but on the high tier, he and I are on the same vibe.
This is tough. I don't know. I feel like maybe because MVG just slandered High on Life earlier. I don't know. Maybe Nate and I might be most similar to my gaming taste, and I'm trying to think.
I think Nate and you maybe usually y'all agree on the same.
But he likes Pentiment though.
See, Nate and I agree on a lot of things too.
That's just all you all even know.
Nate and I both agree that Mario Sunshine is terrible.
Yeah, see, I like Mario Sunshine.
Team John all of a sudden.
I don't know. We're all really different actually in terms of the games. I like Jedi Outcast. Nate was like talking a lot of smack on that game.
Dang. I love me some Outcast.
Nate probably thinks Halo was teen rated back then too.
I played Halo. I bought it on PC so I could play online multiplayer.
Those are the good days. Good old GameSpy.
I feel like I agree with OJ sometimes, but OJ has the funniest game recommendations of like, wow, I really like this RPG. And OJ is the one guy who would be like, well, you should try Zenith F Death of a God. It's like the weirdest game I've never heard of. So OJ is always right, but I never know what the fuck he's talking about.
No, I just like I like my weird little RPGs. I don't care I don't give a shit what you guys play.
I just got the RPGs on lock.
Yeah, you guys can play whatever you want. That's why I was quiet throughout the whole thing. I don't care. Y'all playing Call of Duty all day. I don't care. People play whatever you want, whatever you like. Me, I like RPGs and I like action games. I'm a big fan of like Bayonetta and stuff like that and all that. So I'm an RPG action game person. I don't like sports. I don't think some of you guys like sports games. I'm not a big sports. Yeah,
actually, I don't really think any of us really played this sport. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe Sean was like the Madden guy.
Yeah, Sean likes.
Well, he likes that basketball game.
He likes
wasn't it?
basketball. Sorry, basketball. He buys that every year.
You guys like racing games too, though.
I do
You
like
guys all
racing. Yeah, I'll play racing games.
I despise racing games. So like,
Yeah, some game awards show mistakenly put racing and sports in the same category. So
Dude,
now that's how it is.
The only sports games I liked was NBA Jam and NFL Blitz.
I mean, those are good ones,
the
though.
funny ones.
Mario Strikers. We play Mario Strikers. That's sports.
Yeah.
I don't consider like Mario Kart and Mario Strikers. I don't consider.
Oh, those are
like,
racing. That's a racing game. That's a soccer game.
Yeah, I don't consider those like. I don't consider
It's like Need for Speed over there.
Like where you're throwing like turtle shells at people and stuff.
I play MLB The Show every year.
It's like,
Yeah,
like, I played MLB The Show, but I was like, I played it one time and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, the show used to be a lot better back in the day. Go back to like 07 and 08 on the PS2. Those are the good ones. Those are the good days. All right, let's talk about how gaming's terrible now. Hold on. Let's talk about games as a service.
I mean, is this the Suicide Squad stuff for the?
Yes.
Because we do have that queue asking whether or not because of the 4 for 4 of
Go
failed.
ahead.
Yeah, so
Go
the
ahead, ask
AAA
it.
looter slasher genre is 4 for 4 for bad games. Will Suicide Squad finally break the curse?
I'm concerned about Suicide Squad now.
Dude, I saw that picture and immediately my brain just went to the Avengers game.
Yes,
like, right
that's
away.
exactly what happened to me. I saw it and I was like, I've seen this somewhere. But that's exactly what happened. I was like, this looks like the Avengers. Which, by the way, the Avengers ending support. That's that. They're done with that one. Moving on, which doesn't really shouldn't surprise anyone after Square offloaded Crystal Dynamics to Embracer. Like, it's very clear that I don't know what the deals are behind the scenes for the licensing with that, with Marvel and all of this, but I feel like that's not a cheap project even to maintain. So
did you guys see that post on Twitter where they showed like one of the new characters for Avengers and he had I forgot who it was, but he had the exact same moveset as Captain America.
It was Winter Soldier, wasn't it? It was Winter Soldier. Like literally he did the same timing, the pacing. It's just Captain America with a different skin.
Oh man. So that's
said, like, this is in a sad state. This game's in a sad state.
I think that's why when I saw the Suicide Squad image, right, I was like, man, this is some hype just kind of deflated on me with that, with the battle pass being worked in, and then it kind of looks like it's a hero shooter style almost, where you have your character like in the Avengers, you level them up, you get skins, gear that levels and all this, and it's like this feels like it wasn't supposed to be there at first, and over the course of what's almost been 8 years since their last release, it got there just from chasing the trends. Because Ubisoft, there's a lot of reports about them having nearly 12 battle royale games in development at one point.
Jesus Christ.
And they've just been canceling games left and right. And Ubisoft in general has just been, man, they've been trend chasing like crazy. But just games as a service, it's looking kind of shaky right now.
Dude, I think trend chasing, if you're a AAA where you're going to take at least 3, 4, 5 years to ship that game, you're wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. It's impossible.
Like, there's just no way that is feasible in this current kind of climate in video games. There's just no way. Like, Battle Royale was cool 4 years ago. Now it's
especially for a big lumbering company. Like, if you got a small team that can put something out in 2 years, sure, you could even set trends that way. But you're that big company doing it for 10 years. By the time it comes out, what's going to be different? Like, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about Halo, John. I mean, they'll release their Battle Royale eventually. But I mean, it's way too late.
Yeah, they'd have to come up with something original or different or interesting. And if they do, then great. But if it shows up in its Warzone with Halo, I'm like, oh man, they missed it. They missed the boat on that. With Avengers, though, when they brought it out, I'm playing through it, and eventually it just turns into Destiny.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they just at some point in development, they just thought, this costs a lot of money. Let's try to do Destiny with Marvel characters. And now it's shutting down. Now they're done with it.
These games, I feel like they're just not fun, and I don't think anybody finds them fun anymore. I did a video about the Suicide Squad thing, and I showed the leaks, so WB took my video down.
Yeah, they were ready for that.
Yeah, so rip in peace. But basically what I was saying in that video is that I played a bunch of Avengers, and it just falls flat when you like anything that has the system is called gear score, where you get a level 5 gauntlet and then a level 6 gauntlet, but they do the exact same thing. I feel like gamers just don't care about that anymore. Of like, okay, I want my abilities to feel different. I want to make it where if I get a cool laser beam, it feels like a cool laser beam. So all these games that are just trying to make number go up, do your daily quest, here's a random event with random players. Like, if Suicide Squad plays anything close to Avengers, I think it's dead day one.
But did you see the gameplay for it? In some of those trailers, they have gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it looks like Avengers. Like the more I look at that and the more I look at the image with the battle pass and the different currencies and all this, I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
It could be the case that the game is good, but the structure kills it. You know, like that's what it's looking like. Because I don't think Rocksteady's going to make like a bad playing game. I think it's going to be fun to play, but the structure, like the battle pass stuff, the constantly grinding the same stuff over, like the minimalist story, maybe it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that, of that type. But you know, they're gonna try it. Like
my thing is the Avengers at least people had a lot of interest in the Avengers because it was the Avengers. So you had a lot of the, big Marvel properties in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to gauge the interest of Suicide Squad right now. Is that a big enough property where you can do this kind of stuff and people will just try it out,
Rocksteady. It's getting carried right now by Rocksteady. If this was Ubisoft, I think people would be even more like
I kind of see that
about it right now. But since it's Rocksteady and we haven't had anything from them in
2015, yeah.
It's been over half a decade.
Yeah.
It's getting close to a decade.
It's going to be 8 years of just about since they released that game.
So people are dying for something from them because they know that at their peak, they're just as good as anybody in this industry. So I think that's why people are going to try it out,
So that's what's keeping me engaged here is it's Rocksteady. I keep telling myself it's Rocksteady. It's Rocksteady. So I got to at least see what they put out. But my thing with the games as a service now, everyone that comes out wants you to basically just play that game and that's it. Like they don't want you to leave the game or they want you to check in with the game every single day. And people only have so much time. And if there's 20 of these games out there from all these different publishers, it's just a lot of them are going to end up failing in general. So it seems weird to me. I guess the fascination is we build the game once and it lives for 15 years or something and we just keep making money off of it. But I just, the more we see it fail and struggle, the more it just seems like that's not a reality in gaming.
Well, it's weird.
At least off cell phones. Maybe it can work on a cell phone. I don't know.
It's weird that seeing games that even were successful games as a service fail. I have a good friend who's completely obsessed with Overwatch, and now she does there's a quest you could do every day in Overwatch 2 for play 5 games, and she plays her 5 games for her free currency and skins, but she just doesn't have an interest anymore because the lore isn't advancing and they're not really making any new heroes. And I feel like every games as a service eventually starts to dry up and it just implodes and becomes a money sink,
Yeah. It just becomes a time and money sink where you're just constantly doing that same thing. It's the same reason why I'm not into mobile games, right? Like all of us aren't really, like, you play for a little bit. It's fun. Like even like one of my favorite, like Fire Emblem Heroes, right? It's like it's cool for a little bit, but then it's just like
give it like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you're just like, all right, I'm good.
But then I just fell off completely.
Yeah.
Then it's just like, I mean, and it's like you have to use these orbs just to play. There's always some weird thing blocking you from just playing the game, So that's the issue that I have. It's like logging in. Like what was that one game that we played? That Square Enix released with the people can fly.
Outriders.
Outriders.
Yeah, Outriders. It's like, okay, well, let me just log off. Oh no, you got to be online to play single player. I'm like, okay, it's like there's always some type of thing, like just make the normal games, But I mean, I get it. I totally get like the new age style of thinking for a lot of these devs. Well,
here's the other question at this point: are games becoming so expensive to make that they feel like they have to go the games as a service route?
Yes.
No. Yes. I kind of think so too, because would Suicide Squad be a regular game in the Xbox 360 days?
I think so. Well, then explain that for me, MVG, because as a layman, I feel like there's still a space for normal games. Why is there, from a business standpoint, why is there so much games as a service?
Well, I think there's a inherent risk that they're not going to get their money back on the development costs if they make a standalone game that has, we'll say, 10 to 15 hours worth of gameplay. You know, you play it once, you may go back again, to platinum it or whatever, but that's it, right? So I think there's a lot of fear that, these companies are investing a lot of money, especially in IP like Suicide Squad, and they don't get their money back. So they want to line the game with, a live service model. They want microtransactions to ensure that they're at least getting, they want to make money. Like, getting your money back is the first kind of milestone. So I think a lot of companies are going down this road. And yeah, if you're going to do that, like you guys said, it's very difficult because you have to keep drip feeding, your customers interesting things to do every single day. It's not good enough just to say play 5 games, collect these skins, because eventually you're just going to get bored of that until there's new maps and there's new things like that. So it's very difficult, to stay. I think as these studios are making these live service experiences, it's very difficult for them to stay ahead of gamers, because gamers, we eat this shit up really quick. People will tear through that content in 15 hours maybe, and they're waiting for the next thing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, now we got to figure out what to do for the next season and stuff like that. So yeah, I think, I know it's a long-winded answer, but I think at the end of the day, they want to keep trying to make money off gamers, and that's why a lot of these people, or a lot of these studios, are turning to the live service model.
It's probably also easier to find outside investment by saying live service to people who only think about money and not games all day. Because if you can point to any of the live service models, be like, see, this game made this many billions this year. They'll easily drop money on it, assuming you're going to do the same.
Yeah, you'll have a VC invest millions of dollars into a yet to be realized concept, and then you hopefully get it. And to like MVG's point, if I'm a studio like WB and I have Rocksteady, I want you to make a live service game because your next game is going to take now 5 to 6 years. I have to keep all of your developers, programmers employed. I need money. Now, if your next game's going to take 6 years and it's going to cost us $150 million, I need revenue coming in from something. If we don't have any other big projects releasing in that window, where are we as the company getting money to fund your project? Because now if your game bombs, we have no investment and we go bankrupt. So we either lay off employees and downsize, or we do a live service game and hopefully produce consistent revenue over the duration of the development of your next game. That's kind of the direction the industry is moving in.
Well, MVG, so I have a follow-up question, and you may not have the answer to this, but it's something I've always wondered, which is that wouldn't live service games end up being more expensive in the long run? Because it seems like a lot of games, you work on them and then they come out and you scale down the team and people work on DLC, but people start to work on more projects. Like theoretically, it seems like everybody that's working on Destiny is just always going to work there and they just keep people there. Aren't those games more expensive in the long run?
I think over time they become more expensive, because at some point you're paying for infrastructure, like you're paying for server costs, you're paying for cloud hosting, you're paying for Azure, you're paying for whatever cloud services are there, and I think eventually there's going to come a point where the expenses outweigh the money that's coming in, right? And I think that's when they make the decision to kind of wind things down. And like, look at Babylon's Fall, right? How long did that?
It was less than a year.
Yeah, it was like
3 months.
that they were bleeding money. Like, that number one, they weren't getting their money back on that investment.
They had like 12 concurrent players on Steam.
They probably had a couple of server farms ready to take all the players that were going to jump on and were running.
Those servers were in standby most of the time.
Yeah, but like, you're still footing the bill for that stuff, right? So every month there's an expense that you have to pay to ensure your live service, is still running. So yeah, Max, you're right. At some point during the life cycle, the expenses will outweigh the amount of money that's being generated.
I guess that explains why we keep seeing those live service games that come out, because it seems like there's like 9 that come out every year, and usually 8.5 of them instantly die. I guess that explains it, is that if it doesn't immediately start turning a profit, they're like, all right, we got to fire half the team. Now is it profitable? No, it's not. All right, fire the next half. Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense, and there's just less risk being taken then in the industry because of that. And I'm kind of reminded of, this was 2021, from Sean Layden had talked about this a while ago with Bloomberg, where he said the gaming industry is on its path down an unsustainable path. And he said the game development seems to double in cost every platform. And he was quoted that PS5 games could end up costing from Sony up to $200 million for each one to produce. God. And I was like, that seems like a lot. But then what's the news we got the other week? Callisto Protocol cost over $160 million in 3 years of development time to create.
Jesus.
And
that's obscene.
And if the publisher behind that game wasn't the size that they were, the loss that they had on the game, which would be in the area of $70 million, not including marketing, would be enough to shut that entire company down. And that's what the industry is moving towards. If you are a major company, you could sustain those type of losses. If you are a AA tier company, that release would have ended you.
Yeah, it would have bankrupted them. Yeah,
but absolutely. They have PUBG. They have a live service game where they have made billions of dollars. So they could say, yes, we lost $100 million on this release. It's bad, but it's not game breaking to us.
Right. So and that's the thing, though. Expectations don't slow down for these games. You start the next big AAA game up, it's got to look better than the last one that released, and it's got to play better. It's got to have new ideas, and it's like, eventually there probably is a breaking point somewhere down the road, and a lot of it is, I think, tied to the live service games, or as they just keep seemingly running out of steam and failing. It's almost like you can't, unless you're a platform holder, if you're selling a system like a PS5, an Xbox, or a Switch, and it makes sense for you to create a game to sell your platform, these third parties are going to have less and less incentive to make that creative Elden Ring like experience, where it's just a game. You just get a game and that's it. You don't get,
I mean, that's the thing, is we can look to some of these Japanese studios like an Elden Ring. You can look to Capcom with what they're producing with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Resident Evil 4 Remake isn't a game that's not costing Capcom $150 million.
No.
They can release the game as a standalone experience, sell it at $70, sell 7 million copies, be more than profitable, and go on to their next project. Western companies want to create games that are essentially a digital casino. They want you to continue to pull that lever because they need money. They need a continuous flow of money because they don't know when their next release is going to come in and how much money they're going to make on that product, because they just invested hundreds of millions of dollars into that casino release and they need it to pay for itself. And if it doesn't, you get mass layoffs. So the bubble will eventually burst. It's just a question of when and what is going to cause it.
I am curious because Resident Evil 4 Remake does have in-game transactions marked, in-game purchases. I'm not really sure what that would allude to, but they may have their own microtransactions as well set up. But I don't think it's going to be like a battle pass and, like you said, a roulette system and all of that. But it's rough times ahead. That's what I'm going to say.
That's what scares me. I know we've been on this for a little bit. That's what scares me, because I feel like the 7th gen, remember when we got Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, Oblivion, Skyrim. We have totally went away from getting stuff like that. Now, like, we haven't even got, where's the new Fallout? Where's the
don't let me talk about Rockstar.
Where's the new Mass Effects? Where's the new, like, everything is going, I feel that's a direct, what Nate said, what you guys have been saying is a direct result why I've been a little bit frustrated going from, you know, what we got before with Western developers. It seems like Japanese developers, we still get those. We still get multiple, you know, maybe not as frequent, but we still get that. But it seems like the Western developers, it's just, my favorite Western franchise is Mass Effect. We have not seen a game in 5+ years. This is supposed to be we got 3 of them, you know, that were all great from 2007 to 2012. and we've had one since then, you know, which is just it's upsetting. It's upsetting that the industry is going in that type of direction.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, and that's the thing. You look at the PS3 generation. I mean, you know, can continue using Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
they put out a trilogy of Uncharted games, and
Yep.
they introduced us to The Last of Us.
Yep.
What did they do on the PS4? We got Uncharted 4, Lost Legacy, The Last of Us Part 2. Significant downturn in terms of output. Yet the cost of those 3 releases likely were magnitudes higher than the 4 games they put out on the PS3.
Look how long it took them to make Last of Us Part 2 as well. Like Last of Us Part 2
it was essentially the entire generation.
Whole generation. Is just like I get it for like graphics and fidelity, but part of me is saying it's like it's costing us at this point. You know, like we're not getting anywhere near as much. And it's arguable. I guess it's subjective whether you think that these games are better now at this point than then. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if everything that we're getting now is better than what we got on the PC. It runs better, looks better, but is it actually better than getting all the Mass Effects that we got and getting Uncharted 1 through 3 and getting The Last of Us Part 1? Like, and even, is that better? I'm not sure.
I mean, that's the thing. It's subjective. And even if you look at Mass Effect, look at the evolution we saw in terms of storytelling and gameplay, just from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 over the span of just a few years. They completely
a generational leap.
Yes. And we're going to get a Mass Effect just this generation. Probably the only one we're going to get this entire generation. Are we going to see something that is revolutionary in terms of narrative and gameplay versus the last good Mass Effect?
You're going to see a Mass Effect with a battle pass. That's what you're going to see.
No, my God.
They kind of did it in Mass Effect Andromeda. Like they tried to incorporate some of that, and I'm just like, oh, come on, like
it's coming.
Why? Like, you know,
always online.
They did it with. I think there was multiplayer before in Mass Effect, but it seemed very isolated. The multiplayer.
You didn't really even have to think too much about it. You just kind of walk past it.
That one they try to integrate it right when you got to that hub. Like, hey, there's the multiplayer missions. Like they're trying to integrate it into the single player, like where it's like right there. You know.
Man, I hope Dead Space. I hope Dead Space is good. It just comes out. It's just a game, and it's like this is a great game, and that's it. Like I hope we get.
I mean, that seems to be what EA Motive is exactly doing. They're taking the Dead Space that we played 10 plus years ago and retaining exactly that. Ideally, it sells well enough and is well received that they consider doing Dead Space 2. We know they're going to go on to another project immediately after Dead Space, so it might be some time before we see a Dead Space 2. But if this is able to revitalize that IP, that's a win. So
until they get to Dead Space 3, no,
I guess
destroy it.
I was spending some time thinking about Octopath Traveler and Operation Triangle Strategy and all that, and I guess I'm thinking more and more about those like really good AA RPGs, Lost Sphere, I Am Setsuna. I don't know. I guess I almost am starting to think like I wish we got more B tier stuff on purpose, or even C tier stuff. I don't know. I feel like these giant super, like I even wish that we had a B tier Final Fantasy team right now. I wish that there was an indie Final Fantasy every single year. I would love that.
I've been saying like I think that type of stuff is awesome, which we still see quite a bit from the Japanese development side. Stuff like Persona Strikers, right? Stuff like you said, Octopath 2. This is the second Octopath game we're getting, right? We've gotten multiple of the IMs, like that Tokyo RPG Factory. They haven't sold well, but we've gotten multiple games
Lost
from them.
Sphere and all that.
And the Oninaki and stuff like that. So yeah, like Atelier Ryza, we've gotten 3 of those in the it's the new Japanese Mass Effect. We've gotten 3 of those since 2017 or 2018. So I mean, like they're still turning out some games that are great, but I'm fortunate because the cost of development and what fans expect has completely skyrocketed. You know, so yeah,
we'll see how things continue, but
that's why games like Pentiment deserve attention when they do get released. I understand it's a niche, it doesn't appeal to everyone, but that is the exact type of release you want to see companies in the Western development sphere embrace and try their hand at more often. It was a passion project for Josh Sawyer and Obsidian. They made it with 14 people. It released, it was well received by critics and the media, and it was a small budget game that was essentially a AA release.
Nah, you slander Jedi Outcast. We're gonna bury Pentiment.
Hey, that game was the worst $20 I ever spent.
No,
Well,
it's not. No.
Sean agreed with me. Sean played it for 10 minutes. Was like, this game sucks.
Evan, we have Discord questions still over there.
Yep, still got I think 4 left. Yep.
All right, we'll go through them.
What is the best Sonic game of all time, and where does Sonic Frontiers rank?
Sonic. I gotta go Sonic 2.
I was kind of hoping Jordan would be here for this.
I'm going for Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic and Knuckles for me.
I'm gonna say Sonic 2 as well. And where does Sonic
Frontiers fit on your list?
Frontiers? I have a copy of it. I haven't played it yet. I will stop playing.
Definitely finish Plague Tale before
list?
playing it.
There's a lot of Sonic games. Where do I put on my list?
I'll put Sonic Frontiers as one of the better modern Sonic games.
Hey, Jordan's in chat. Screw Sonic.
It is one of the. You're right. It's one of the better modern ones.
I like it more than pretty much every single modern 3D Sonic game, with the exception of maybe Generations. That might be the only game that I like as much or more, but it's better than pretty much anything we've gotten, on what we got like in the past decade. Sonic Colors, people like Sonic Colors, and that game's okay, but I think Sonic Frontiers is better.
I think Frontiers paved a nice foundation to build something great if they do a sequel.
Yeah, I hope they do. I do, because I think they have the framework there. So
they said that too, though. They said this is going to be the framework for.
Yeah, from the sound of it, it was a beta test for a better game. So hopefully they get there.
I'll take anything. That's better than what we've gotten before.
Yeah.
I just need some. Let's just get some more ideas together. They might have to take some time to pop in, but they can. I think
it's getting new content this year. There's new content coming this year for Sonic Frontiers. So
I would put Frontiers because I think I've played every Sonic game. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 I've missed here and there, but I have played a lot of freaking Sonic games, and I would probably put it in my top 3. I think for me, maybe top 5. But I mean, I love Sonic Mania a lot. I really am obsessed with how good Sonic Mania is. It's such classic love. I would put this maybe like just a notch or 2 below Sonic Mania.
Okay. When the next gen Switch is finally announced, does the cast believe it will be higher spec than the Steam Deck?
No. I think they'll have a lot of tricks and stuff to get it up there, like DLSS and all that.
I don't even know what the specs of the Steam Deck are offhand.
16 gigabytes of RAM. It has a custom AMD chip, but I think it's like 1.6 teraflops.
Yep.
So I don't think it's going to be Steam Deck, but it also doesn't have to be necessarily, because Steam Deck is running like a form of Linux and all of it. Like, they're going to do a lot of optimization, as MVG I'm sure is aware of with the current Switch, to have it do more than it should, I guess is what we can say. So there's a level of focus that you can have with the Switch or the next gen device versus the Steam Deck, since it's playing games on Steam. So
all right. With Ubisoft now being in such a precarious spot, do you think Nintendo will buy Rabbids to keep the Mario and Rabbids games from going away if Ubisoft goes under?
Yeah, they should start throwing the cash around, get Rabbids. Go ahead and pick up Assassin's Creed. Nintendo just makes that exclusively. I like it.
I don't think they care.
Nah.
Real quick.
Rabbids.
Alpha Dream made all sorts of great games for Nintendo for years, and when they needed help, Nintendo was like, "All right, bye."
Yeah, that was actually kind of cold the way they did that to them.
They were like, they did not care. I mean, yeah, they hired the
Rorschach moment of just looking down and saying no. Like, it's just
like,
I don't have to save you.
They threw no life wrap. They were just like, all right, just fold it. Anything you guys can apply. They just handed out.
They went to the office and started handing out applications. Oh man, that'd be great.
They did not care. So why would they care about some damn Rabbids, dude?
Yeah, I think if anything, Ubisoft would continue that on their own and have Rayman be the main protagonist if they want to. But I don't know. They seem kind of down on those sales. But who knows what Ubisoft was thinking over there in the first place?
Down on the sales, but it was the 3rd best-selling Switch game in December.
Not good enough, Nate.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're below Mario Kart, you go in the garbage can.
Came out in October. It's still 3rd best selling in December.
Probably a distant 3rd, though.
Distant 3rd.
What's that say about all those games below it?
Trash.
I mean, this is a company that's still making Skull and Bones, so
Oh, God,
because
yeah.
they have to. They're legally
It's their curse
obligated.
now.
But it doesn't have to be good though. They can just release it.
They don't want to be sued by a country.
They can just release it. Look, but they can be like, look how long we
Come
spent
and
on
get
this
us.
game. All right,
They're gonna like be sentenced to the Hague.
dude. That game, there's no way that game is gonna be. I mean, come on, dude. How much can they really do that game to make it good? We've seen the game.
No, so they had a beta test, and I had some friends that were in it, and they said the gameplay loop makes no damn sense. Like your ship grows next to islands and just sucks up like materials, and you drive around and like craft stuff. It makes no sense.
Which country to take money from for Beyond Good and Evil 2?
They need to take that game out back and shoot it.
They can't.
Damn.
It's sunk cost fallacy. There's no way.
Well, they apparently they took money from, was it Singapore, Nate?
I believe so.
So they actually have to put the game out, like if they're contractually
No,
out. It's like $90 million or something.
That game
it's a
has to
lot of
come out,
money.
and they have to try to sell it like to the best of their ability.
They have to at least pretend like they're trying. I guess I don't know. That's gonna be such a wild story when someone's eventually gonna tell that.
What if
entire
it
story
comes
from start
out
to
and it's
finish.
actually good?
Here we go.
It could.
I mean, hey, if
Like
it's
it just
good,
surprises everybody. And
Hey.
everyone is streaming it, and all of a sudden, 18 months later, it has 50 million active players.
Wins
and,
game of the year.
Yeah, wins game of the year, and Ubisoft walks on stage and looks at Jeff Keighley and says,
None of
"Fuck
you
for never
believed."
believing in me."
That may be the day I'm done working in video games.
And they
That's a
call out
lot.
MDG, say, "You hated our game from the very start. Now what?"
They look you right in the eye and go, prepare for disappointment.
And the last
I'm gonna
thing's
take
just a
my Mister and my CRT, and I'm gonna just walk away into the
There you
sunset
go.
on that day.
like Ryu at the end of Street
Yep.
Fighter. You know when he wins.
You got it,
that
man.
music,
Yeah.
You got
and he's
it.
just like,
I must find a true challenger.
yeah, I must find a truth. He's like, he doesn't take the money or anything. And you see Bison and Saga, they're like standing like, where's Ryu at? It's just...
the last
Hey,
thing's just
would-
a shout out to
Yes.
RGT as well from Discord.
Shout out to RGT.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a hell of a story if that game all of a sudden released and it was legendarily great.
This is from, okay, here we go. I'm gonna go through some of the super chats here as we finish up. James says, I still enjoy Ocarina of Time style linear 3D Zelda with 2D and open world. I imagine linear 3D will be dropped. Star Fox Adventures franchise could fill that gap. See, there we go. We're thinking outside the box. Get Star Fox Adventures 2 going. Stead says, don't forget they laid off employees from Bethesda, and they have a couple games coming out this year too.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
all the focus was on 343, obviously, but Bethesda did lose quite a few people as well.
I think it's because we got so much information on 343. I think that's why that was such a in the spotlight. There's so we didn't hear as much about Bethesda at all,
But
really.
some of the Bethesda layoffs couldn't not be related to Starfield development finishing, and these positions are just no longer needed.
Yeah, it's possible.
Mm.
It's possible that contracts are finishing up or
Yeah.
whatever.
And that's
Yeah,
where
I mean-
sometimes context is needed. It can't just be generalized. Oh, they laid off people at Bethesda. This could have been known to the employee that their time was coming up.
Tariq says, should they take Halo from 343? I think it's time.
No.
So here's the hard truth, okay? If 343 dissolves tomorrow, Halo goes away for a long time. Like 343 is it. If 343 is gone, there's basically no Halo for modern day Microsoft. So
I don't think it needs to be taken from 343. I think 343 needs competent management and to let the developer and programmers and writers that they hired do what they're best at and let them create a good project that isn't interfered with by management within 343 from Microsoft. Let them do their jobs and not nitpick and micromanage every decision that the team is trying to craft.
yeah, I think, like I said, I think with I'm willing to give Pierre the benefit of the doubt on this one. I think they're going to be at least in the right direction now. But you're right. There were so many people that we heard that were like trying to lead the way, and it was now a lot of them are gone. We're like Joseph Staten's over now back with Xbox Publishing. So It's it'll be interesting to see what happens this year for Halo. Sad Brad says, what's everyone's favorite track from Quest 64? Mine has got to be the Lara Pool theme. Much love, guys.
Pretty sure you had to Google that to make sure.
Now I know that there is a theme called Lara Pool in Quest 64. Thank you.
Good about Quest 64.
Fusion says, does how Xbox handled 343 give you concern for how Xbox handling the other studios, especially with 343 being right there in Washington?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah, if you listen to last week's episode of Nate the Hate, we talked about how we think Xbox is going to go this year. I think this is a very pivotal year for them. They have to deliver on their acquisitions.
And
they have a lot to do. So yeah,
that starts next week.
Yep.
Agreed.
I mean, really, we're still waiting to hear about things like Everwild.
It'll be a long
Fable.
time.
We mean a long time. That was announced a while ago.
On Fable, I just want to hear going on, like an update. There's been nothing. Perfect Dark. There's been
Perfect Dark.
Yep.
Rumors that Perfect Dark's going to be a minute too. Ooh.
Yeah, Perfect Dark, Fable. Like they were quick to announce everything, talk about how much they're doing, but then when it comes to then we go a whole year without game. Game Pass has been great though. I can't say that. That's been good for people.
This is a big week for them. They got to set up some release dates.
Yeah, next week. Next week begins. If they stumble next week,
oh my gosh,
then if they stumble next week, you're going to be ready, MVG, because we're recording a double episode.
Gameplay for all the games there, right? And release dates that they've already announced, right? That's it. Then we're
Seems like it. I think that they can't come in with a game like they cannot have that show and say, here's a release date for Minecraft, here's a release date for Redfall, here's a release date for the Elder Scrolls Online, here's Forza. Oh, we don't have a date yet.
No.
If something like that happens, you just throw your hands up and say, what's
Forza
happening?
though? Nah, that Forza's the one that should be a lock. It's turn 10. That's actually the studio that I would be most confident in right now.
All those big four have to have a release date. We have to get nice in-depth looks at the games. They cannot not deliver release dates on these titles.
I agree fully.
I don't think it needs to be super long because I know some like Xbox has done really long shows before in the past. I don't think it needs to be. Like,
I said it's going to be 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's okay.
10 minutes for each game is what I hope it is.
And it sounds like there's going to be a few other things outside of just what they've named. So maybe some Game Pass stuff.
Yeah, something like Hi-Fi Rush will likely be there. That we talked about that last week. It's the Tango game.
GoldenEye. See, now we're talking GoldenEye.
You would think GoldenEye would be there. It would make sense.
Yeah.
But GoldenEye continues to
coming soon.
Stealthily evade release.
Andre says Xbox ain't got no games. Chad Warden, I am glad they laid off 10,000 people. How are you going to have that many employees not have any first party games 2 years in? Shake my head. PlayStation has at least 6.
I understand that you're like a character online. The little 10,000 people losing their livelihoods and jobs just isn't good for them.
It is not. Dark Type says if there's one thing is gamers love, it's unexpected and deep story lore. X Era says, sup guys, haven't been able to watch live for a while. Good stuff. Spawn tear down Victrix Gambit controller. I don't know what that is. We'll look it up.
Did you say Vectrex or
Vitrix Gambit? Vitrix. Don't know. David says we are Bubby. Thanks, David. T-Joe says never thought Compile Heart would come up on Newswave. I'm just waiting on the next Neptunia to release this Tuesday. Is Dokkan really that popular? They have apparently Dokkan. It's a game coming up. It was from the PS2 and the Wii, and it's apparently a Mario Party RPG. I had not played it. I looked the games up. They're like $150 to $200 now, so that's probably why. This is from Dark Dream says, not a big Nintendo guy outside Pokemon, but after getting into Metroid recently, I want to see how Metroid Prime 4 will look, hopefully this year, and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, RE4, Alan Wake 2, Street Fighter 6, Dead Space, and Diablo 4. Yeah, I think 2023 is going to end up being a pretty good year overall for games. Brian says, Spawnway, that statement about the app to keep track of retro game made me laugh so hard because I can't count the amount of times I've done that. Thank you for making my night. You guys rock. Thanks, Brian. Switch Realm says, me or Super Switch?
Super Switch.
Super Switched?
Super Switch.
Free Metroid Hat says, what is the rarest collectible you or a friend of yours has? For me, it's my friend's Dolphin GameCube prototype.
I have a couple of dev kits.
Yeah, I'm saying it just has like dev kits. Yeah, it's in the ceiling, whatever.
I don't know how valuable they are. Like they're not like super rare or anything, but they're a little more obscure. My favorite one is the Net Rose, the black Sony PlayStation dev kit. That thing's awesome. I love that thing.
I think the rarest thing I have is if you pre-ordered Pure Solar and the Great Architects on Dreamcast when they did the HD remaster. It's like a Sega Genesis indie game, and they remade it with better music and backgrounds on the Dreamcast. And you'd pre-order it like 5 years ahead of time. The first 500 they sold, the developer wrote you a thank you card. So I kept the game, and I have the handwritten thank you card. And it's like, I mean, it's not valuable, but it's like rare, and I keep it just because it's cool. I'm like, wow, that's really weird that I waited 5 years to get this card in this great game.
Dwan Davis says, what's up, y'all? What's up, OJ? I do got a crusher. OJ, what's going on with McKnight Suns for the Switch? Midnight Suns, I'm going to say, for the Switch. Okay, I got a question, OJ. What's going on with Midnight Suns for the Switch? Why is nobody talking about it? What is it going? Is it going to release? I think. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Sorry, shout outs to Mr. Davis, man. You're the homie. Yeah, Midnight Suns is coming, Mr. Davis. It's coming.
Hey, Midnight Suns. You know what, Mr. Davis? Midnight Suns it's a good game as well. I played it on the PS5. It's a very good RPG. I think the card mechanics turn people off, but I saw people excited for Batten Kaitos, and guess what? It also uses cards. So people about to be real confused when they fire up that game. Ruffle says, think the Steam Deck passed its honeymoon phase?
No.
I don't know, because I think people are still getting it for the first time, and when you get something the first time, that's the honeymoon phase starts immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I still play mine quite a bit. I like it.
Callan says, if they increase Switch sales, maybe next gen won't be a hybrid and work with Switch. Then OJ loses our bet. Sending my best for RC. Hope he's doing okay. Like how they attempted to do the Game Boy Advance and DS stuff, and then they were like, nah, the DS is next gen for our handheld.
The guy thinks that they're not going to do a hybrid, but he's very confused. He's saying that, hey, at one point he said, hey, they should follow what Microsoft and Sony does. Then I'm like, well, they're probably not going to. And then at another point he said, well, they're not going to do a hybrid. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do this. So he'll say random things that times he says they should. And then he said, it's stupid if they don't do a hybrid, so they will not do a hybrid. Those were his words. He said they should follow Microsoft and Sony. And then he said, after that, he said, well, they should do a hybrid, but they're not going to because they're stupid, even though he literally just said they should follow Microsoft and Sony. So he's been Callan Shaw, right? So he's been kind of like saying one thing, then saying another. He's been kind of going all over. So we'll see what they do. We'll see. But, you know.
Tijo says, speaking of Xbox Japan, where's all the physical releases at? It feels like almost all of the Japanese Xbox releases are digital only in Japan. And then they say, OJ, I'm still waiting for a royal sequel. It's disappointing that Kasumi isn't in P5S or a DLC character in P5D. She and Hifumi are the best P5 girls.
Stop being a fudging weeb, dude. Like, the story's over with. Like, you got what you got. Royal was an addition. That's that. I don't move on to the next thing. Persona 6. We know.
Oh yeah.
Persona 6. I don't know about the Xbox physical sales in Japan. I feel like there are probably just a lot of digital sales there.
I was just joking around. I'm just joking. But there's no point in making physical games in Japan. The sell-through is going to be absolutely atrocious. It's bad for PlayStation. You know, the physical sell-through on a lot of games. Some games do really well, but it's bad for PS5, and that's done considerably better than Xbox. So they're not going to waste their time making physical games in Japan. Nobody's going to buy it.
Switch Corner says, do you think Ubisoft had messed up by creating a culture of waiting for a discount? Immortals and Mario Rabbids was $10 so quickly. Kind of talked about that with the Mario Rabbids stuff. It doesn't help. It does not help.
Definitely plays a factor.
Yeah. Joe says, I'm loving Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Can't wait to see what Monolith Soft can create when not held back by dated hardware. They are my new favorite software dev team. Well, I assume they are hard at work now on what's next, probably on Nintendo's next gen system, I assume now for development times.
Monolith Soft is one of those teams, though. They're never going to go too crazy above what they're capable of. Obviously, they can do some great things, but don't expect them to make, even on the next system, to make something that looks as good as God of War, Ragnarok, open world, and all that. They're not going to do that. They're going to make a game that's good for the hardware, that pushes things, but it's not going to be anything that's going to go well and above and beyond what we've seen, in my opinion. Will it be better fidelity and all that? Absolutely. But they have a certain style that they make, and they're a big studio, but they're not that big. They're not like 1,000 people or anything like that.
Peeps says, just beat my first Fire Emblem game, Awakening, during the show. Shout out to OJ for hyping me to the series, and respect to RGT.
Well, it's all downhill from here. There's no other Awakening. No, I'm just joking. Shout out to Awakening. Fantastic game.
Dark Dream says also Spider-Man 2, the PS5, and I am the most different from this cast. Grew up on Sega since the Dreamcast launched in 99, then Sega virtually died, then moved on to PlayStation, Xbox. Will Sega ever return? I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense for Sega to make hardware now. MTS says, what Souls-like game would you recommend for a first timer?
Elden Ring.
Probably Elden Ring. Yeah.
Elden Ring.
I've said this before, play them in reverse release order. So I think definitely Elden Ring, then Dark Souls 3, 2, 1, and then Demon Souls. I think they get harder.
Play Elden Ring, then play Bloodborne. Skip the rest.
What? Oh my god! Sorry. Definitely correct in that Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3. But
you got to play Demon Souls on PS5.
No, you don't. No, you do.
I like Demon Souls a lot, but I do think it's by far the hardest. So I think it's one of the ones you got to play later in the order. You'll get frustrated.
Yeah, do Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Demon Souls.
Tyler Walls says, with the Smash Amiibo set nearly complete, would no new Tears of the Kingdom Amiibo give us an idea of the state of Amiibo moving forward? Any info?
What the fuck's an Amiibo?
I feel like they're definitely gonna have Amiibo. Oh my gosh, they'll sell some Amiibo. I feel like for Tears of the Kingdom, they'll have a special edition Switch. They'll have Amiibo. They'll have merchandise.
I think it'll be the flying door. That'll be good.
I hope so. I might buy that one if it is.
Kind of cool.
With like a hinge.
Yes. Asim says, did the company culture and allegations at Ubisoft affect their financials? Some boycotted their releases and were pretty vocal about it, like Arlo. Well, I imagine that PR probably did not help them either, and it definitely didn't help with morale. So I'm sure that also played a part. Asim. Let me go around here as I finish up with some of the super tests. Also double check Streamlabs to make sure I catch everything there too. Let me start with Max, Dreamcast guy. Where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I have 2 big videos coming out next week. A review for Forspoken and a review for the Dead Space remake. One of these games is going to be great. One of these games is going to be epically bad. So please go subscribe.
Oh, did we get everyone's Metacritic prediction for Forspoken?
We didn't.
We didn't. Let's do that very quickly.
Hard
65.
62.
70. Whoa, MVG is just like burying this thing. That's like Saint.
What'd you say, MVG?
52.
He said
52. Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's near Balin. Oh no, Balin's lower than that. I'm gonna go 70.
I'm going 67.
Weird day when the 70 is the high pick.
What are you going, Nate?
I'm gonna go 64 to 68.
What kind of range is that? No, you got to pick one number.
65.
You said I was
feel
going to go
Spence sitting
64
right
to
there.
83, somewhere in there.
Oh, I'm giving like the 5-point range.
Everyone picked one number and he comes in with the whole
I
range.
think somewhere between
I didn't
40 and
say-
70,
I
I
didn't
think.
say 52 to 57.
Well, that's because your number is ridiculous to begin with.
People did on Twitter. One guy, my shout out to my man Nate, or my other Nate that I know. He was like, "I'm predicting for Fire Emblem and I'm predicting a 78 to 87." I'm like, "What the?"
I'm gonna
Right,
tweet
then-
that 52.
I'm gonna come in at
down to
69.
69. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Bat says, I long for a new Turok game.
MVG,
cool.
can you please make a new Turok game?
What kind of battle pass do we need to make that happen?
Probably a dinosaur one.
If we don't get a new Turok game, it's MVG's fault. There are certain things that are just default MVG's fault. This is one of them.
Probably right. Okay.
Brian says, not on topic, but any of you guys interested in the PSVR 2 day one purchase or wait and see? I mean, I'm gonna get it as soon as I can. Yes. So hopefully it shows up day one if they ship it out. I'm gonna find out this experience with the DualSense Edge because that's showing up next week. So
those 36 games, just take them all away and give me Half-Life Alex. That's all. That
would have helped. But I'm gonna play Gran Turismo. I'll play Gran Turismo and Horizon at least.
I mean, that's when you look at the launch lineup that they detailed this week. It's not a bad lineup. The problem is that so many of the games are just repurposed PSVR 1 games like Moss and Moss Book 2, Thumper.
Dude, I love Tetris Effect. I love.
I was about to say that's like that's the underrated one right there. People got to check that out.
I've played Tetris Effect so many times. I've played on VR on the PS4. It's a fantastic experience.
And that's the thing is, do you want to spend another $10 to have it on PSVR 2 or even Res with? Now it has eye tracking. It's a fantastic game, but if you played it on PSVR 1, is it enough of a reason for you to buy PSVR 2 on launch?
But Resident Evil Village.
I don't think that's enough of a killer app to invest in a $500 headset alone. They're just missing that one must-have launch game.
Half-Life Alex would have done it.
It would have done it. Like, it's a great lineup. It just doesn't have a killer app.
And now that I've played Alex for the first time, that is the best VR game I've ever played by a fucking mile.
You throw cans of soup at the pigeons on the street like I did in there. That was fun.
Well, I was just blown away by the way the gun works and how you put items up your items like up your sleeve and pull them out. Like it's so intuitive.
It's pretty cool. Xera says Vitrix Gambit controller has low latency for Xbox. I use it for Rocket League on PC. Can't go back to Xbox controller only Elite. I've tried. Interesting. Okay, we'll check that out.
I said Victrix. I'm such a boomer.
What a boomer.
Good call, Xera. Metro Knight says, do you think combining studios would be easier to manage? Maybe combine id with 343 to assist with Halo. I don't know what could help at this point. I think they just need their management structure in place.
I think Ryan McCaffrey or someone tweeted that id should take over Halo. I don't think that's a good idea. Plus, I don't think id would even want to take Halo anyway. You can't just give it to someone else. It's not really the way things work. You know, it would never want to take on Halo.
That's why I think the current plan on paper is that once they get Call of Duty, I think they're going to move over some Activision devs and go, all right, let's cycle people that have made the most profitable shooters ever and see what they think of Halo.
I feel like they'll have a lot of experience for live service shooters all of a sudden come into the company then. So maybe they can do some cross stuff there to figure it out. Kind of like Bungie is part of Sony and Sony's like, yeah, we're tapping into that knowledge right away. So I guess it's possible. Then Xera says, anybody watch Mythic Quest? I have not.
I think it's on Apple TV. Which one was that on? Okay.
Then Xera says, MVG make a Spawncast game. There you go. MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. I did a video on Monday last week, so I'm kind of back making content again. Have one out on this coming Monday as well. So check out the channel. Nate and I will have an episode out next week, I'm sure. Possibly two. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty busy week next week.
The Eagles blew out the Giants 38-7. My gosh. OJ, where can everyone find you?
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, you can find me not in New York.
Jeez.
Blown out. I'm right here on YouTube. I've got some cool Fire Emblem videos that I'm working on right now. So if you're a beginner and you want to get into Fire Emblem, and some of the advanced stuff that they necessarily don't tell you about or don't spend too much time on, I'm working on those videos for the coming week. I've got another big video coming up on Fire Emblem tomorrow, so you guys can check that out or check out some of the stuff that I've already done on Fire Emblem. Did a lot of stuff. Shout out to all the new people coming through for that. And I also stream pretty much daily, so new videos pretty much daily and streaming pretty much daily on the channel, Player Essence. Thank you to everybody who supports. I appreciate it.
Ghostlight says, is anyone excited for finally getting a modernized 2D Mario Bros. Title? New mechanics, new art style, online multiplayer?
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I like that.
Take all of that.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nate. Nate, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate. As MVG said, we will have a new episode this week, potentially 2. That is dependent on how the Microsoft showing goes on Thursday this week. If it's dreadful, I'm going to lay into Microsoft. If it's pleasant, I'm probably not going to touch it. But we
We'll
have
talk
an
about it on the
episode
podcast then. On the Spawncast, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, save it. But we have an episode up right now talking about the Switch and a timeline regarding dev kits. We also have an Xbox predictions episode from 2 weeks ago that people can go listen to.
Okay, and then Evan actually has a shout out to do tonight because he has a channel going.
Oh yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project. I also started posting videos on my YouTube channel, Kimmerix Project, as well. It's mostly tabletop stuff. So, I mean, if you're into that, you can check it out. But I know it's not going to be for everyone.
Post the link in the chat.
Let people know. Let the good people know, Evan. let them know. Hey, there's some production stuff going in there. There's some serious work going on those videos.
Yeah, I'm trying to streamline that so I don't burn out real quick.
Hey, if you're someone curious in the tabletop scene or the game, what you doing, like Warhammer?
Specifically Kill Team for now, which is part of the Games Workshop stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, if you're curious about it, getting into them, learning about it, Evan's got it covered.
I've heard Kill Team's awesome. I've heard from a lot of my friends that Kill Team is freaking awesome.
It's super fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, so make sure drop that link in the chat and everything, and I can update your link in the description going forward if you want it to be that instead of your Twitter.
So
but,
I subscribed to your channel.
I think from a long time ago, unless you unsubscribed and reassessed.
I guess I wasn't subscribed previously because I just clicked subscribe, unless it did that YouTube thing where I just.
Oh, these things are like legit painted and everything. Oh man.
Yeah, I've been going quite crazy these past couple months.
Wow, that's like legit work done to those things. Jeez. Okay, cool, good stuff. All right, that's Spawncast tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll definitely have the Microsoft show to talk about, and we'll see what else happens in the crazy world of video games. See you guys then.
Fuck Mario Sunshine.
Buy a toy.
Suck it.